Is it coming through? It looks like it. Um, Although nobody's seeing anything on the screen. Okay, let me put the slideshow back. What's up, guys? Up here with my partner Chris, hanging out. We're gonna watch some videos of Vaush reacting to Joe Rogan. We haven't seen it yet, though. Usually we like to watch it before
Yeah,
we do it. We didn't see it this time. Just give it a few minutes for people to come, if they do. If not, they could just watch it back later. Um, well, meanwhile, we can talk about you're on Twitter, and you notice Jeremy of the Quartering tends to tweet like every day that he needs content, basically asking his audience for content every day. And, that just shows you don't have content. Like, how are you asking for content every single day, multiple times a day?
People are mad at me right now. Oh my god.
Yeah, people are fighting with you on Twitter because they're trying to defend the Quartering, and they were like, "Oh, well, he's he's trying to cater to his audience," and I'm like, that's not always a good thing. Like,
Yeah.
at some point, you need some creativity and originality to give your audience something they don't know they want. You know what I'm saying? But if you're always giving your audience something they want, it's like, I don't know. If it works for him, that's fine. But it's kind of, how do I say it, like low quality.
Yeah.
Like you can have somebody like Sean. Sean jokes around and makes fun of that, and he'll ask his audience for content, and then when they give him content, he laughs at them and tells them they're stupid for suggesting that, as a joke. But look, he responded to you and said, "Well, I make 10 videos a day," as if that's
That means
anybody else's fault
something.
than his own. And it's like, well, if you're sacrificing your quality for quantity, that's on you. You know what I'm saying? That means you had a legitimate critique
Yeah.
to say, hey, your quality is suffering because one, you're not putting any of your heart and soul into it. You're just basically getting all your content from the audience constantly. And you make 10 videos a day.
Yeah.
Like, how crazy is that?
Even in his responses, he's proved my point repeatedly because I saw him make this tweet that he usually does of what you guys want to see today, guys, and and I commented, I have an answer for you. Why don't you ever think of your own content? And then I forgot about it. Like 4 hours go by, and he makes the exact same tweet.
Oh man.
Like he makes pretty much the exact same wording, and I'm like, my original answer to you is still the same. Why can't you come up with anything original? And that's when he came back with the, oh, I make 10 videos a day. But other parody accounts are like, yeah, but you don't even, that's not even his own original content.
Yeah, but it's not, yeah, you're making 10 videos a day. That'd be awesome if that was your own original content. But you're making 10 videos a day critiquing stuff that your audience wants you to critique. And every day you wake up in the morning and go, what would you guys want to hear about today? And collect everything they say for you to like make videos on the stuff they just tell you to say. Basically, he's got a free producer, right? That's what you pay producers for. But you pay somebody for quality. They find quality stuff to give you, right? But what he's doing is he's using his audience for that, and he's collecting all of it. But it's like, but look, he can say, oh, I make 10 videos a day, but look at Devin. He pumps out content like crazy, multiple videos a day sometimes. And he never asks his audience what they want to hear about. He tells his audience what to hear about. Like, this is interesting. Let me tell you about it. You know what I'm saying? It's not, oh, guys, tell me what's interesting for me to talk about. It's hey, look, this is interesting. Pay attention, and then you want to see it.
Other people that are trying to defend Jeremy are like, but to me, saying that I'm just a critic, and that means that I'm a cold and timid soul. But this is exactly what Jeremy asks of what like he should critique. He's asking his audience, what do you want me to critique today? So his entire audience is just cold and timid souls, I guess. And, like, they don't even realize that they're calling out themselves as they're trying to call me out for this shit.
Right, and they're trying to defend it, and it doesn't make any sense. Because it's really almost indefensible. Well, he also brought up Tim Pool, right? Well, I got it from Tim Pool, but even Tim Pool, most of his content is stuff he wants to talk about, And he has a producer that sorts through the stuff for him. But he usually talks about stuff he wants to talk about. It's not stuff he, occasionally he asks his audience, but he doesn't usually. Like most days he does his own shit, So it's very strange.
I win. I win.
You win. I mean, it's a strange thing to defend. I mean, at least if you just admit it and just say, yeah,
Oh, yeah,
I,
I'm
you
not
know,
lying.
yeah, I'm
Yeah.
lazy
Yeah.
and I put out 10 videos a day and I don't want to do quality work for 10 videos a
Yeah.
day. So,
Like coming back and saying I'm just like Tim Pool guys is not proving
no,
me wrong. That's just
that's not
you've
helping.
proved me right
Hmm.
again.
Yeah, that's not helping. Also, thanks, Jamie, for the $10. Very sweet. Yeah, happy Friday, everybody. Even though nobody's watching right now except Bonnie and Jamie. We got 4 people. Yeah.
In the house.
Lucky number 4. But yeah, it's kind of strange. If you want to put out content, like, my thing is, if I don't have anything to talk about, I'm not going to talk about it.
Right.
I'm not going to make content on things I'm not interested in. I'm not making content and stuff. Like, I'm not going to make a schedule where I'm going to talk every single day if I don't have something to talk about every single day. You know what I'm saying? But that's kind of the point. He doesn't have something to talk about 10 videos a day, but he puts out 10 videos a day. So it gets to the point where he's got to ask his audience, like, hey, can you guys help me out? Like,
And other people are like, yeah, okay, well, he's done this for every day for a year. It's like, okay,
yeah.
so he's lacked any originality within
Yeah.
a whole year.
And
But if you
has
just
pumped
say-
out low quality stuff because
Yeah.
he's just pumping stuff out for the sake of pumping it out and having a rhythm, you know, basically. But he's not actually putting anything into it.
Yeah.
If you watch his videos, they're boring as
They
shit.
are
Like, sometimes he talks about topics that are interesting, but it's boring as shit because he says the same things all the time, and it's, you know, it's all just, you know, woke culture kind of stuff. It gets boring after a while.
Yeah.
Like, you've heard it all. I remember watching the Quartering earlier on, and he would talk about things. Sometimes if it was something I was interested in, I would listen to it. Not all of his stuff, but if it was something interesting, I'd listen to it. And he seemed to have something to say for those things. But
Yeah.
now, like, if you watch any of his stuff, it's all the same thing.
repeated,
Yeah, and
all
he
the
repeats the
same.
same thing. Remember that somebody, I forgot who did it, but somebody did like a little cut of him saying whammon over and over again
Whammon,
in
yeah.
one video, and he did it like
Oh,
30
the-
something times, like whammon, the whammon, you can't hurt the whammon, the whammon.
Captain Marvel complaining about.
Oh
that
my god.
actress
Yeah, and how
that's
many
her
videos he
name,
made
I
on
can't
Captain
remember.
Marvel
Yeah.
or any particular movie. You can find certain particular movies that he's probably made
Yeah.
40, 50 videos to. I think I was going with damn, who was between him and No Bullshit of how many Captain Marvel movies they made, and one of them made like 50 something and the other one made like 70 to 80 something.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's a lot of, I thought I was like, I thought myself in my mind I was exaggerating. They made a lot of videos, but not that many.
Right?
Maybe in the teens, the 20s, you know, that's a
Yeah.
lot of videos to make on one topic, you
And
know.
you count them and you're
But
like, 50. What the
But then you look and I'm like 50, it's up to 70 something. Like, oh my god, like really? How can you make that many videos on one film? On one person? I mean, it's just so weird. But it is like, it's kind of like a paparazzi TMZ kind of thing. Like any
Yeah.
breaking news, I gotta jump on it first and make the comment, you know, regardless of what the content is. And just constant updates. So like imagine he's doing Captain Marvel. So it's like, you know, when you have like a news feed from like a trash rag, like
Yeah.
website, you every single update on a story, you get you get an article on it from the same place over and over. It could be like 20 times in one day because there's
Yeah.
multiple updates and they keep sending you another one. But that's what it is. So every single little thing that happens based on that movie, he sees he gets a lot of views. He's gonna go, I'm gonna do a response to this. What? Brie Larson said what? That's another video.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Oh, Captain Marvel made how much? That's another video. You know, like but it's, you know, eventually it's like, all right, that's enough. How much can you possibly have to say on one thing like that? Like,
Yeah.
it's crazy.
When some other person, Germ Hambly on Twitter, was like, oh, he's tried to do the original thing of being a gamer or like a movie critique or something like that. And it hasn't gone well for him. So, like, just asking for content from people is all that he's got, basically.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't prove my point wrong at all, still, though.
No, yeah, I don't think they're understanding the point that leads to low quality. You know?
Yeah, yeah.
If you're pumping out 10 videos a day and you have to ask your audience for what content to make it on every single day,
Yeah.
multiple times a day, you're probably pumping out low quality stuff.
Kind of shit stuff.
Yeah, you've become a cookie cutter factory that just, like, you know, take an idea and just put it out the same way every time over and
Yeah.
over again. He's probably got the same formula, the way he does every single video exactly the same. It's like, But the critique is like we would want him to do better, right? Like
Yeah.
there's people out there showing you can. I mean, Devin, like I said, Devin puts out quality content, and one video after another, multiple videos a day sometimes. So it can be done. Instead of putting out 10 videos a day, why don't you put out two quality
really
videos a
good
day?
videos,
Yeah, like
that probably would do a lot better than
a lot better
what
than
he's
putting
doing
10.
now.
But if he's making money and doing a groove, then he's just gonna stick to that. There's
Yeah.
no incentive for him to actually put work into it. But that's where I say that the passion's gone. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like there's no
yeah.
passion anymore for what you're making.
He's burned out probably a year ago or something.
Yeah,
like that,
yeah, he
possibly,
burnt out a
because-
while ago. He makes his money off it, and he got comfortable with a certain
cap, that
cap
he's
of money,
going
which
at.
is probably
Yeah.
something to become. I'm not blaming
Yeah.
him for that. Probably is very comfortable.
Mhm.
But that's basically what he's capped out on. He doesn't care about putting out
Putting out any
content that he
really
loves
quality content. It's not. I don't think it's always quantity over quality. I think quality is
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's
important.
starting to put quantity over quality.
Yeah.
I don't know if he ever put quality over quantity
Yeah.
before, but I'm saying like
Probably not.
you think after all this time, if he was really passionate about it, he would grow in a way to put more
Yeah.
quality into it, but he isn't. All right, so let's get on to watching Vaush. Oh, you're gonna need your headphones now.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to start a thing for judo lacing. I wish there was a way for me to just do the audio because of the thing for you to listen to, because you don't really need the video, right? Like you just need to hear it. You're actually even seeing the video through my screen, so you just need to hear the sound. There's no other way I could think of to do it. Tell me if you can hear it.
The news network you work for out and out lied. Well,
You hear it?
I hear you.
You hear me? Why would you hear me?
Can you guys hear the video?
I don't know if I'm playing it on the stream, but maybe they do. That's weird.
Right now, I'm gonna hear you.
Damn it.
Wait, hang on a second.
So how can I do this then?
Maybe because I muted this. Maybe that's what.
Things
But I wasn't. hearing
outright.
you.
Dude, he's
Oh, yeah,
so
okay.
mad,
Okay,
dude.
here. Okay,
Joe
okay.
Rogan
I-
literally
I-
spread.
I'm
Okay.
sorry.
You can't be deafened then.
Sorry.
It's deafened stuff video. Okay. Woo. My computer's about to take off. Hold on, let me minimize that. Minimize this now. Put up the chat. Alright. Let's hear what Vaush. Already from the title, we could see it's pretty funny. He says Joe Rogan whines, all capital
Yeah.
letters. You see that whines is the only thing that's all capital letters. To CNN, Dr. Sanjay Gupta about the media and ivermectin. Now, it's funny he phrases it that way. I don't know if he probably doesn't cut his own videos on YouTube. But it's funny that it's phrased that way, considering then Vaush is kind of doing the same thing. You know what I'm saying? So is Vaush whining when he bitches about
Yeah.
right-wingers and this and that? Like, is he saying that his content is whining? Like, that's what his content is?
Yeah.
But meanwhile, Joe Rogan doesn't whine here. He's literally asking questions and asking, why would they do that? Something like that. Like, so where you're basically saying this, that's not whining. That's asking questions.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whining would be like, tell them to stop. Like, why are they doing this to me? But he's not playing a victim. He's actually smiling and almost laughing the most of the time. Like, haha, we got him. Like you can't escape this one. We got you this time.
The news network you work for out and out lied. Well,
Yeah.
outright.
Dude, he's so mad, dude. Joe
Dude,
Rogan
he's so mad.
literally
Where was
spreads
that mad?
vaccine
Hold on,
disinfo.
let's watch this. Look at Joe Rogan's face. It's Vaush just makes shit up, because look at Joe
The
Rogan's
news
face.
network.
In fact, we're gonna look at both of their faces one after another, and I bet you any money Vaush is the one who's mad.
Yeah.
And you can see it in his face that he's the one that looks mad. Joe Rogan right here is high as shit. Look at his eyes. He got the crazy I'm stoned eyes. Like, he's totally stoned. What's low volume? If we're the ones that are low volume, I can't really adjust that. But is it
Is it me that's the low volume?
or is
Oh,
it the?
wait. Gosh, okay.
I mean, Chris is gonna be low volume because she just has a
I've
low
got
voice.
a tiny voice. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
The Canadian in me.
But if it's the video that's low volume, let me know and I can raise the volume of the video. It's just going to be loud to us, which is going to be a problem. We'll worry about that as it goes. All right.
You work for.
But look at the
Out
face.
and out
He doesn't
lie.
look mad.
Well, outright.
Dude, he's so mad, dude.
But look who
Joe Rogan literally
actually looks
spreads
mad.
vaccine disinfo, and he's mad that when he
When
took
did
a
he spread vaccine disinfo? When did that happen?
Yeah.
drug
Rogan,
that
you
is
say
a
Rogan
horse
did that?
dewormer, they
A
call
drug that is a horse. He's doing the
Oh my
same
God, he's doing
thing
what CNN did.
that Sanjay Gupta admits is a lie, and
Yeah.
Vaush is doing it right now. You know what I'm saying? How
called
funny
it a
is that?
horse dewormer.
Joe took horse medicine.
Yeah, but you know, like aspirins and stuff like that. They use that for dogs. There's
Yeah.
dog aspirins.
Yeah.
So does that mean aspirin is dog medicine? And when we have a headache and we take an aspirin, we're taking dog medicine.
Taking
You
the
know?
dog medicine.
This is the
That's it.
stupidity of these people that they don't even get. Yes, that ivermectin can be used as a horse medicine, but that doesn't mean there's tons of things in there. You can use penicillin on animals to
Yeah.
have it help them with their antibodies. That doesn't mean penicillin is
Yeah.
dog medicine, yeah, or
medication.
cat medicine. You know, it's
Joe
ridiculous.
took horse medicine. Joe took horse medicine.
But this
I
is
don't
the
understand.
what this is like a tripling down. Like they
Yeah.
know they're wrong, but they want to keep doubling down on it. Like they're not stopping the double down. They can't admit they're wrong. They never do.
No.
If we just don't make fun of Joe Rogan, he'll stop spreading vaccine misinfo.
Huh?
It
That
wasn't even making fun. It was just lying.
I mean, you can make fun of Joe Rogan all you want. Joe Rogan's good at that.
Yeah.
He doesn't get offended. He laughs sometimes
Joe
when you make
Rogan-
fun of him. I've seen memes of Joe Rogan that he's laughed at. You know,
Yeah.
that he's like, yeah, that's funny. You know, Joe doesn't care that you bust on him. Make fun of him all you want.
Yeah.
His complaint, but you say whining, but it's not even a complaint. His bust, because he busts them on this, is that they're lying to people about it, and they prove it. CNN's own doctor that they have on TV admits to it.
Is a person who exists. I've been known to have some disagreements with the guy.
Joe Rogan's a person who
And,
exists who's way more popular and way more successful of a human being than you will
Yeah.
ever be.
Apparently, one of CNN's own went on over there to have a conversation with him, and apparently got wrecked. I don't really know, but
Apparently
there's
got
been some
wrecked.
contention. The CNN clip has over 1 million views as of 2 days.
It was
ago,
actually,
and it's-
they keep clipping it, which I'm sure he didn't watch the whole thing. They keep, you know, we're seeing right wingers clip it and be like, oh, he destroyed him and all that. But really what happened is, it's, you know, Joe Rogan's podcast is 2 hours. It was actually a good conversation. They went
Yeah.
back and forth and they
Yeah.
discussed a lot of things. Obviously, it's clipped out to show what certain people want to show and be like, aha, you know, and make it seem certain ways. But, you know, it is true that CNN is lying about Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
You know, Sanjay himself admits to that. It's like, yeah, they are lying about you. That's not true. It's not horse medicine.
been
You know, it
disliked
can
into
be.
oblivion. I guess I just want to see what the big dealio is. But this is the CNN like coverage of it. If you guys have the original clip, you can here, let's see.
Our chief medical correspondent, Dr. Sanjay Gupta, sat down for a 3-hour one-on-one with controversial podcast
I like how
host
they call him a skeptic, Joe Rogan.
Yeah. Because
To
he did
talk
that
with
one show.
skeptic Joe Rogan, why not just host their podcast interviewer? You
Yeah.
know, like being a
Joe
skeptic.
Rogan last night.
Cool.
Rogan remains a vaccine skeptic despite having caught COVID-19.
Remains a
Remains
vaccine.
a
Even
vaccine.
that's a lie. What do
Yeah.
they mean, vaccine skeptic? He says the vaccine's good. Take the
Yeah.
vaccine.
I
What do you
haven't heard
mean?
him talk against the vaccine in any type of way to
No.
be skeptic. Be like, oh, don't get that, guys.
The most he said is that if you're young, you don't need to take it. That's
Yeah,
the most
that's the
he
only-
said
Yeah, I was listening to some
against the
people say
vaccine.
that.
Besides that, he says the vaccine works. Blah blah blah. Take the
His
vaccine.
concern is about children getting the vaccine, young kids
Yeah.
having the vaccine. How
It's
that
like if you
could
think
affect
you're in
them.
danger of catching COVID-19 and you're at a health risk of not surviving it, get
Yeah.
the vaccine. He says all the time. So how is he skeptic of it? Like,
Right.
what are they talking about?
Himself. Let's listen to part of this.
Even
Is
that is a
Joe
lie.
Rogan vaccinated? This dude's been dishonest about his level of fear of the pandemic before. Is it possible he's lying about it? I don't know. All the Fox News hosts are lying about it. They
What? What is he talking about?
all have to be vaccinated. I mean,
All the
yeah.
Fox News are lying about it. All the Fox News people are vaccinated. They're all in New York. Fox News is filmed in New York. They're all vaccinated.
I-
So would you now, with what you know now, and having had COVID, would you?
But the problem is with these far left people, they instantly, anything you say about the vaccine, any question even,
Now you're a skeptic.
then you're
Yeah.
anti-vax.
Yeah.
Instantly. Like, you know, remember they were doing that to Jimmy Dore. Jimmy Dore's like, take the vaccine.
Mm-hmm.
But I had a bad reaction to it. And I spoke about it, and I spoke to other people about it, and I spoke to my doctor about it, and now people are saying I'm anti-vax.
Yeah.
Because I'm relaying my experience of having a bad time with the
Yeah.
vaccine, you know. But also, he even says I had pre-existing medical conditions,
Yeah.
so I wasn't
Maybe
sure
that made it
if I can even
worse,
take
you
the
know?
vaccine
Yeah.
or if it counteracted. So I spoke to my doctor about it, you know. And the doctor said, yeah, I have other patients who had that same problem, which most likely have the same medical condition as
Yeah.
he does. That's what he's talking about.
That's all Jimmy Dore was wanting
Right.
people to be like encouraged to talk about any
Mhm.
negative side effect they had, and was worried that he wouldn't be able to, but obviously that wasn't the case because he could speak about the issues that he was having.
Yeah, but just speaking about the issues, just speaking that you had a bad reaction to the vaccine, just saying that is you being anti-vax for
Yeah.
some reason. But that's where they prove his point. Because when Jimmy Dore and Joe Rogan talked, what they were saying is, why can't you question these things? Why can't we talk about them? I'm not saying, they're even saying, we're not saying to be against the vaccine. We just want to know, why can't we ask these questions? And they prove it by asking those questions. They get attacked as anti-vaxxers and told, you know, you're against the vaccine, blah, blah, you know. And it's like, dude, they're not doing that. They're just asking questions. They're just talking about it.
Like,
You're making it worse by making them right that you can't question these things. You know?
Yeah.
Instead, you should be like, yeah, you can
Wish
question
that
those
you'd been
things and talk about it.
vaccinated
And then that's
beforehand,
it.
But I got,
You
It's
almost
as easy
got
as that.
vaccinated.
yeah, but again, I explained
got
all that.
through it.
But I got through COVID.
Yeah.
Pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So
They
so
say he
that
was
my-
vaccinated or
my-
almost got vaccinated.
So,
Yeah.
so that
Almost.
yeah. But again, I explained
got
all that.
through it.
But I got through COVID.
Yeah.
Pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So that was my thought was, I'm a healthy person.
I don't know why it's so shaky.
I exercise
healthy
constantly. I'm
We
always
also
taking
have
vitamins. I
a
take
friend who
care of
got through
myself.
COVID.
Okay.
I
Twice.
felt like I was
In
going to be
their
okay,
40s.
and that was true.
Yeah,
was
twice.
That's not really how that works. I
And
don't
Ben
think
got
your level
vaccinated
of
recently.
musculature
Did you?
is what determines how effectively you fight off the COVID vaccine.
What?
Wait,
That's not what
Oh,
he said. Yeah, we got to
musculature.
back. Sorry, we're
Rogan-
talking over that.
It
your
makes
level
sense
of-
what Rogan is
I
saying.
felt like I was going to be okay. Thought was, I'm a healthy person.
I don't know why it's so shaky.
I exercise constantly. I'm always taking vitamins. I take care of myself.
Okay.
I felt like I was going to be okay, and that was true. It was correct.
That's not really how that works.
Yeah. Okay, so
I
this
don't
is
think your level of
this is already the first straw man. Joe Rogan made no reference to his level of musculature.
No.
All he spoke about
It's
is
health.
when
How
he's saying
healthy.
work out, he's not saying how strong I am. He's saying I work out as I keep my body fit and healthy. You know what I'm saying? Everybody knows if you work out, you keep your fat down and you work off certain like foods and stuff like that, you're healthier. Your antibodies work better, your immune system's better, your body just functions better.
Yeah. He takes supplements, he works out, he's like he's the health and wellness guy.
Yeah.
As well
And now
as
Vaush
the
takes
MMA,
that.
basically, like,
And now Vaush takes that and changes it and strawmans him as saying, that's not how it works. Your level of musculature doesn't determine how well you fight. Like, what? That's not what he said. Nobody said anything about the level of musculature. He didn't say,
Vaush, you need to listen.
yeah, he didn't say, I work out, I eat well, I'm muscular, so I'm gonna, you know, like, he
I'm good,
didn't bring,
guys. Thanks,
he-
my muscles.
didn't even bring up the word muscle or anything related to muscle at all. Like,
musculature is what determines how effectively you fight off the COVID vaccine.
you see how stupid this
Oh,
is?
this
Like,
is the big clip? Okay, this is the big clip.
On a news network. Horse dewormer's not
Yeah,
a
but
flattering thing. I
they're
guess.
saying there's the big clip. I don't know if this is the same one, but
It's a
if it is,
lie.
it's cut up
a lie on a news network, and it's a lie
Yeah.
that's a willing. That's a lie that they're conscious of. This is not a mistake.
Yeah.
he's not
They're
wrong.
unfavorably framing it as veterinary medicine.
Well, the FDA put this.
Well, that is what people are getting. They are literally getting ivermectin
No.
from
No,
like
they're not.
pet care.
But no, some people
some,
have,
some,
but those
yeah.
are idiots who, instead of going to a doctor and getting it, went and got their horse medicine version of it and
Yeah.
took that and got sick.
Right.
That's not what Joe's talking about. Joe's talking about himself. CNN's not saying, Joe Rogan took ivermectin, but some other people are taking horse dewormer. That's not what CNN said. CNN said Joe Rogan took horse dewormer.
Yeah.
That's what they're saying. Already he's obfuscating the point, right? First he strawmans Joe. Now he's obfuscating what they're talking about even.
Yeah.
They're talking about CNN saying Joe took horse dewormer. Yeah, see, even this guy in the chat saying ivermectin is used for horse dewormer, though. Yeah, it's used for that.
For that.
Right.
There's
But that
a
doesn't
human
mean
version
it's
of it.
horse medicine. It doesn't mean that it is always horse dewormer. You know?
Care stores because their doctors aren't recommending it to them. So they're going to these pet care stores and literally getting horse.
But that has
dewormer.
nothing
By the
to
way,
do
I
with
don't
Joe
give a fuck
Rogan.
about this. This is not dishonest, okay? Ivermectin
What?
is a horse dewormer.
It's
If
dishonest.
You buy it,
No.
even if
Yes, but it's dishonest when you say Joe Rogan took horse dewormer.
Yeah. And
Just like it would be dishonest if you have a headache and someone took medicine, aspirin, and you go tell other people, oh yeah, he took dog medicine.
Yeah.
And you went around telling people that person took dog medicine, you're being dishonest.
Yeah.
Even though in the end, aspirin can be dog medicine. You know, it's a dishonest representation of the events, you know. And you know you're doing it. That's Joe Rogan's point, is they know they're doing that.
Yeah.
They're literally... They know Joe Rogan took ivermectin, which can be a human medicine or a horse medicine or other animal medicines. It isn't even just for those two things.
there is a human consumption
Right.
version.
And they're phrasing it unfavorably on purpose to
Right.
make it seem like Joe Rogan is taking medicine that was made for a horse. But he's not. He's taking a medicine that can be used in the medicine of horses, right?
Yeah.
But can also be used in the medicine of humans. So why not just say Joe Rogan took medicine? You know what I'm saying? Took mammal medicine. You know? Like, it makes no sense. That's he's obfuscating what the complaint is here and turning
like,
it into something else.
Yeah, doing the triple down on this. Is
I mean,
only
him
for horses
saying-
and horses only.
Yeah, and him saying that people have taken the horse version is one, a straw man, and two, completely irrelevant to this
To what-
because
yeah,
that's
yeah.
not what Joe's complaining about.
Exactly.
if you get it from a doctor, it remains a horse dewormer. It is not anti-COVID medication.
But he didn't
It's
get it
not.
from-
What?
It is a horse dewormer.
No, but he didn't get it. No, this is wrong. If you get it from a doctor cannot prescribe veterinary medicine to a human being. I don't think that's how it works. I think Vaush is retarded for thinking
Yeah.
that's how it works, because that's not how it works. You're not gonna go to your local physician and say, "Hey, can I get a pill for my dog that's got worms?" You know what I'm saying? Like, that doesn't work. So, like, even Vaush is doing the same thing CNN does. He's phrasing it unfavorably. He's making it seem like Joe Rogan went to his doctor and said, "Hey man, I need horse medicine. Can you get me
Hook
horse
me up.
medicine?"
Hook me
Yeah.
up.
You know, it doesn't work that way. And that seems like you're kind of like not only lying about Joe, but you're lying about his doctor. That
Yeah.
his doctor gives out animal medicine. Like,
Right.
that's some bullshit. Come on, man. You don't know this doctor. How are you going to know that? It's ridiculous.
If they want to make fun of you by saying you're taking horse dewormer, I
No,
don't care.
if they
That's
that's not the complaint though. You see, he's changing it again. If they want to make fun of you, yeah, Joe Rogan is not complaining about people making fun of him. He doesn't care if people make fun of him. What Joe Rogan's complaining about is that CNN lied about him on purpose. They're not joking. They're not on CNN reporting, Joe Rogan took horse dewormer. Laughing, smacking their knee. No, they're doing it with a straight face and
Yeah.
saying this is what's happening. Joe Rogan's going on the air and saying that he's taking horse medicine and
He's
that it
a-
cures this and that when he's never said any of that
Yeah,
stuff. You know what I'm
he's
saying?
a skeptic
They're
of
literally-
the vaccine, and he's taking horse medication now.
There's a difference between joking and lying. If CNN came on and said that Joe Rogan's taking horse dewormer and they laugh and make a joke about it, that's completely different. And
Yeah.
I don't think Joe Rogan would even complain about
No,
that.
no.
It's a totally different complaint. He's not complaining about people joking. He's
honestly,
totally
you could say
changing
that's negative
what the thing
framing,
is, what's
but
going
it's still
on.
horse dewormer. That's the thing that it is. It's just funny that Joe Rogan plays it so fast and loose with the presentation of information on his podcast all the time, and he's accusing a major news network of dishonesty for saying that he took horse dewormer when that is literally a thing that he took, And he
That's
was
not what he
advocating the
took,
use of
though.
an unscientific treatment.
No,
towards
he
COVID.
was not, and he did not advocate it. Wrong. He did not advocate it. He spoke of how it worked for him and said, "Why can't we ask questions?"
Yeah,
about
this. Yeah.
about it. Like, why can't we ask questions about it? If there's proof that it works, why can't we look at it? You know what I'm saying,
Yeah.
and see if there's like studies of where it does or doesn't work. Why can't we look at that and ask questions to look at those things?
Like now Vaush is saying if your doctor did happen to recommend ivermectin for the human consumption version of this, don't listen to your doctor, don't take that.
Yeah,
Because,
this is actually
like-
almost dangerous advice, and somebody's gonna actually need ivermectin one
Possibly,
day,
yeah, just like
and
how
they're
Jim
gonna be
did.
like, "What? This is horse medicine. I saw this on the news. They said it was horse medicine. I'm not
Yeah.
taking this." You know?
My doctors are not. I need a new doctor now.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. It's a really weird thing to do, but it's like I said before, they just can't admit they're wrong.
Yeah.
And since he's commented about this before, now when this happens, he's got to find a way to twist this to make it seem like everybody's wrong about it.
He like
Because he
he's
can't
being
be wrong about it.
criticized right now for spreading misinformation, and his response is to turn around and say, "No, you."
See, look, these people are making fun of him too, because they're saying, "Vaush, it's a hog dewormer, not a horse dewormer," because it also works on pigs.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's for multiple things. Like,
You know,
thing out. You saw that. Did you see that?
it's
thing?
like Viagra. Viagra isn't just we could
What's
say.
that for heart.
Yeah, we could say, it's hard-on medicine. But let's say you actually do have a heart condition and need Viagra, and you take
Yeah.
it for that. And I'm a celebrity, and I have a heart condition, and I need to take this to not have a heart attack. They're gonna say,
Oh, you can't get it.
yeah, Benny takes penis medicine. Benny has erectile dysfunction, has to take erectile. Exactly that. Imagine them phrasing it in a way to say that I need to take erectile dysfunction medicine when it's for my heart is literally unfavorably phrasing it to make it seem like I'm limp or something.
Yeah.
I can't get a heart right, and trying to
Some bullshit.
it's almost it's an insult. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And if you're saying it as a joke, fine, fantastic. But if you're saying it, reporting it on
Literally,
news as
yeah.
if it's news that's really happening, that's wrong. You know what I'm saying? And that's what Vaush is defending. And I'll tell you why he defends this, because Vaush and Destiny, what was their falling out about? Vaush thinks you should be able
If
to
it's a lie.
mislead your
Yeah.
audience
Yeah.
if it's for the good, what
Yeah.
they call the good, like if it brings people to the left and is for good, then it's okay to mislead your audience. Where Destiny was like, no, that's gonna hurt your side. You should always use the truth to push your side. If your side is right, the truth will lead to it, right?
Yeah.
Like,
I
so-
feel like Vaush would be like, and if that leads to some people getting hurt along the way, like not possibly listening to their doctor's recommendations, he would be like, well, that was just their fault. That's to do that.
but that's what radical people are like. It's any means necessary, right? Well, the ends justifies the means. So if he can get you to think ivermectin's horse dewormer and get because they think what's happening here is they're listening to Joe Rogan, so now they're not going to get the vaccine and they're going to take this horse medicine instead, which is literally not happening. Like
Yeah.
nobody takes Joe Rogan
like
in
seriously
that way.
like that.
Yeah, everybody. Joe Rogan himself says, "I'm an idiot. Don't listen to me."
Yeah.
He says it all the time. Everybody's heard. Anybody who watches Joe Rogan knows that he says he's an idiot. Don't
Yeah.
listen to him. He used to think the moon landing was fake for years.
Yeah.
Until he had Neil deGrasse Tyson on one time and explained to him how all these evidences that he saw as the moon landing being fake was 100% bullshit, totally possible, that it's exactly the way it should be. And he's like, oh,
Shit,
complete
I
change
was
his mind.
so out of
Joe
line.
Rogan thought Bigfoot was real at some point.
Yeah.
He thought, there's so many people who've seen Bigfoot, he can't possibly be fake. He's got to be out there. Until he actually went out there with Bigfoot hunters and said, these people are
These
crazy.
people are nuts.
Yeah, there's definitely nothing out there, and they just need to go out there and look for stuff just for
Yeah.
themselves. Like it's a psychological
They have
problem they have.
nothing going
That's what I'm
on.
saying. So Joe Rogan's not somebody. Everybody knows this. Joe Rogan's not somebody he's not an expert in certain things. If you
Yeah.
want to listen to him when it comes to martial arts and working out, fine. He's an expert in those things. He commentates MMA for years. He's been into martial arts since he was a teenager. Like, yeah, he has expertise in those things. But when talking about these other things, he's just talking. He likes to talk and listen. Like, why is that a
Taken
problem?
literally.
Yeah, and why can't we understand that as a population and watch his show in that way and be like,
Exactly,
yeah,
yeah.
we just want to hear a conversation. We're not actually here to. But this is the thing. Crystal Ball made a video or a commentary that I enjoyed about Joe Rogan, where she said the right, Joe Rogan's mostly on the left, really, right?
Yeah.
But he says the right has done a great job of capitalizing on Joe Rogan's kind of right-leaning takes, and they kind of like emphasize them, right? And they'll clip those pieces out. They'll make articles. Joe Rogan says this, you know, and they'll make a whole article about a 2-second sentence that Joe Rogan said that's kind of right-leaning, you know. And they do a great job of using Joe Rogan. And she said the left is making a serious mistake by not doing that, because Joe Rogan has a lot of left-wing takes. Joe Rogan's mostly like a liberal, you know. He's like a liberal Democrat mostly, you know. And who was he? He was supporting Bernie Sanders this last election, right? So, and the Bernie campaign was smart to use that as saying Joe Rogan supports Bernie Sanders. And guess what happened? All the Bernie Sanders lefty, super far lefty people got mad at Bernie Sanders. They're like, oh, Joe Rogan's the alt-right, blah, blah. How could you use that? You should never use blah, blah. But that's smart. That's what Crystal Ball's saying. Like, the left makes a huge mistake not capitalizing on the lefty things Joe Rogan says. You know? And instead they let the right do that. And the right is getting more attention because of that. You know?
That's true.
But that's why I say, like, Joe Rogan's not somebody to listen to that thing. He says things on both sides. He's just a curious person. He wants to know things.
He just wants to talk. It's not that you have to.
But they don't take it that way.
Prove their opinion to him.
But what they do is these guys just see the numbers. They say, Joe Rogan's so popular, that means he has control over this many people, and he's influential over this many people's lives, and what he says, this many people are going to go do. And it's not that
The
serious.
FDA put out?
What did the FDA put out?
It was a tweet, and it was snarky. I admit it. They said, you are not a horse, you are not a cow, stop taking this stuff, or something like that.
Why would you say that when you're talking about a drug that's been given out to billions and billions of people?
Yeah.
A drug that
Has ivermectin been given to billions of humans?
Maybe not billions, but
You know
many.
what?
But
Also,
I'll have to look for it again to know if I'm right or not. But I was hearing that people in third world countries were getting ivermectin because they might not have access to the vaccine, and that was
like one
helping
that's
like the symptoms that they would be having. But I'm not sure if that's true. I'd have to.
But even if it's not billions, they're going to obfuscate the point here and say, oh, it's not billions. Like, if that's the point, either way, even if it's hundreds of thousands, it's still a medicine that's been given to lots and lots and lots of humans. You know, this isn't something that's just for animals. And sometimes humans take it. It's something that's taken by beings. Yeah, like mammals. It's a mammal medicine. Like,
it's given to humans for deworming. It's given to humans for killing parasites because it is a dewormer. It is not. Ivermectin's a popular
That I don't
medication in
know
Latin
about.
America because they have higher rates of parasites. I don't know. It's just.
was responsible for one of the
But
inventors of it.
regardless, even if he's saying because it's for that, it's still a lie to say that he's taking horse
The horse
dewormer
version.
if it's also a human dewormer. So therefore, they could have said that. They could have said Joe Rogan takes dewormer, not even put what creature it is. You know,
Yeah.
that's something. Then they would have been correct. It's still kind of dishonest
lie,
phrasing,
yeah.
but it's better at least, you know. Or even if they said human dewormer, that's even better, you know. But the fact that they said horse dewormer makes it so much worse, you know. It shows the dishonesty of it.
But making the
Nobel
winning
Prize.
the Nobel Prize in 2015.
15, yeah.
Yeah,
No,
a drug
For using it on.
that has been shown to stop viral replication in vitro. You know that, right? Why would they lie and say that's horse dewormer? I can afford.
Hold on.
Uh-oh.
Not very-
He's a-
So we're about to do some research now.
Yeah. Oh my god. Let's see. Let's see.
A report here that ivermectin FDA. Wait, who was the group that published this?
When really, you know what's funny is he's like fact checking everything he says. Not that it matters because all of it is beside the point.
Yeah.
The point is CNN lied
He's
with
lying
an
about it.
unfavorable phrasing of the actual events on purpose and did it on purpose.
Wait, was this information published? Was this that same joke group who's pushing ivermectin like crazy and they were like censored and their articles were taken down because it turns out they lied and
Censored.
misrepresented info? Is that where
Why
this
does
study
he
is
talk
coming
like
from?
that? It's so
Yeah,
pretentious.
bleach also kills like
Censored.
viruses. That's not necessarily
Bleach also
indicator that
kills
it's going to
viruses.
affect COVID. What
Yeah,
was the
but
group
his
who did this?
it's not
I'm getting the list.
But CNN didn't say Joe Rogan thinks horse dewormer stops COVID. You know what I'm saying? So why does it matter if for you to say, well, bleach also stops COVID? You know, what does that matter? How is that relevant to any of this?
Yeah.
So hold on. Let me find the author's name. Leon Cali. Hold on.
No,
It only kills viruses at lethal doses to human. Wait, does it actually say that? Wait, does it say that here? Hold on. In vitro single full reduction of viral RNA at 49
Like how?
hours. Fuck, I'm not really qualified to like double check anything like medical.
So then
I
why are
have
you
no
doing
way
Of course you're not.
yeah.
So why you don't? Why
let me
would
see.
you even?
Yeah, why would
I'm
you
not
even-
looking for a control.
Especially
I'm
when
looking
it's
for, like,
irrelevant
the ability
to
to
this
understand what the
conversation
article is really talking
at
about.
all.
I don't need the articles. I need like reputable organizations commenting on those articles.
But this is under
Hold on,
the
viral
presumption that he
replication, that's
makes
the
that Joe
article,
Rogan
article,
is
article.
advocating ivermectin,
This is from the
Yeah.
when
Lancet.
that's not
I mean,
what's happening. He just
Nope, it's
spoke
the damn
about it,
article
how he
again.
tried it out.
Here,
He also
we'll look
said,
into it
you know what's
after-
funny is they don't bring up the other things he tried. He also tried like 5 other things. He said, I don't know. In that same one where he talks to, I forget who he talks to about taking the ivermectin. He says, you know, to be honest, I don't know if the ivermectin worked because I took 5 different things. It could have been any of those 5 other things. He took a thing that was like an antibodies booster thing that he took, so they would boost his antibodies.
Yeah.
He's like, that could have had me, you know, get rid of it. They could have just been
Faster,
that,
too.
you know, for all I know, and the other stuff did nothing, you know,
True.
like for all I know. So he's not even pushing that the ivermectin worked for him. All he's saying is that's one of the things he took. It could have possibly worked, you know.
Yeah.
But they're taking it as him
For
advocating for
people medicine, motherfucker. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's people
It's
medicine.
just a
I don't
lie.
think anyone is.
But don't you think that a lie like that is dangerous on a news network when you know that they know they're lying? You know that they know that I took medicine. Like, here it is.
This
Look,
really
here
is
it is.
like
He's got it right
This is
conversation.
ivermectin.
It's
You
the
got it
piece
right
that's
here.
in the
Somebody gave it to me.
All right, hang on. The thing is, we're like going so fast. Like I feel like I'm missing.
Yeah, he's extremely proud of it. Again, like he's mad because he doesn't like being made
He's
fun of.
extremely proud of it.
It's
He
as simple
hasn't
as
said
that. This isn't
anything. He
about
just stood
truth-telling
there
or
waiting
anything
for
like
the
that.
You
response.
think
want to-
that's a problem?
It's
that you're
how weird
media-
is that they like
Phrase it in that
impose feelings in people when they're not even.
Yeah.
You don't. How do you know that they're feeling that?
Yeah.
Like,
This is
it's like
this
before
is
how
the
he was saying
Twitter
he's so
argument.
mad when Joe Rogan's talking super calmly, right? He looks stoned. He doesn't look angry at all. Sanjay's a friend of his. Like they know each other from before this. They've talked multiple times.
People on Twitter do this. You
Mhm.
comment, you call out somebody, call out fucking the quartering for
Mhm.
lacking originality. And they're like, oh, you're so mad. You're so mad you had to comment on this and like bring up this tweet and blah, blah, blah. It's like,
Yeah.
what are you talking about?
And everybody who's commented on that podcast says that the whole conversation was chill, that like just watching the clip makes it seem antagonistic,
Aggressive,
and aggressive, but really the whole conversation was super chill and good, like, and it was a
Yeah.
good conversation, what a lot of people say. But Sanjay does admit that they were lying. Like basically he doesn't outright say it. I don't think he wants to because he works for them, you know?
It was not.
lies.
Well, I don't. I mean,
Dude.
what did they say?
They lied
What did
and
they
said
say?
I was taking horse dewormer. First of all, it was prescribed to me by a doctor.
Yeah.
Along
They
with
shouldn't have said
a
it was horse.
bunch.
They
of-
shouldn't have said it. He just said that. Yeah, they shouldn't have said that. Like he
Wait,
just
hold
said
on.
that.
I read this from another. I've read this from somewhere else, but didn't he say that it wasn't prescribed by a doctor? He just got it from a doctor friend.
No.
Like
That's
he didn't
not
go
the
to a
law.
doctor, give
No,
his complaint.
Wrong. He said he got it from his doctor along with like 5 other things, and he took them all.
Why
The
would
And the
Joe
doctor
Rogan take
prescribed it.
something
He
not
just had a
prescribed?
friend who was a doctor who gave it to him.
And he said he wanted to try these things. He says, I feel healthy. I can get through COVID. I want to try these things and see what works, you know? But he really doesn't know, like, because he didn't take them separately.
He's Joe Rogan. He's rich and famous. Like if he wants anything, he can get it. You know?
Yeah, you could tease
I
him.
don't. I
He
don't
doesn't
know
care.
if it was the same as like a.
He literally says he has fuck you money. So he doesn't care. That's why he has shows about whatever he wants it to be, you know?
prescription.
And he talks
I
about
just
whatever
I
he
heard
wants
that
to
somewhere. I
talk
don't know. I mean, we would have no way of like independently verifying it either.
Other
If it was-
medications.
If you
You know
got a
what?
human
You know what this is kinda
pill,
like?
because there were people.
How many commercials do we watch whenever the Bachelor in Paradise?
Oh, they sell all the
There's
medicine and
So
stuff.
many medicine.
Yeah.
But you know what? No one's saying take that medicine for sure, but you can talk to your doctor.
Yeah, it
about
always
this
says talk to your
medication.
doctor about
Why wouldn't
if
Joe
this
Rogan
medicine's
give
for you.
something?
Yeah. Yeah, and his doctor's like, yeah, it's totally healthy. You know, it's not going to hurt you in any way. Here, take it. If it works, it works. If you feel better afterwards, you feel better, you know. along with these other things that are completely
People that were
harmful
taking
that
it,
might
the
be better
veterinary
from,
medication, you're not, obviously. You got it from a doctor, so that it shouldn't be called that. Ivermectin can be a very effective medication for parasitic disease, and as you say, it's probably, I think what, 250 million people have taken it around the world. I get
More.
that.
Way more.
So,
Way more.
Can,
Billions
Or-
of people have taken it.
can I just come back to the one I want to talk about? Two things on
You
the
have
ledger.
you have, before we get to that, does it bother you that the news network you work for out and out lied? Just outright lied.
Dude, he's so mad, dude.
He's-
Joe Rogan literally spreads vaccine
I don't think
disinfo, and
he
he's
knows what
mad
Joe Rogan
that when he
mad
took a
is.
drug that
Because
is a
I seen
horse
Joe
dewormer,
Rogan mad.
they called it a horse dewormer.
That's not Joe Rogan
This is
being
li-
mad.
this is so.
What
This would be
vaccine
like
disinfo
saying that somebody is a
information
liar
is
and
this?
like giving misinformation because like you wore like a fucking beard, and it was like kind of looked like a Hitler stash, but it wasn't exactly. And somebody on CNN joked saying that you had a Hitler stash.
No, that's not the same thing. So he's saying this is the same as you shaving your face in a way that almost looks like a Hitler stash. So they make a joke and say, haha, he's wearing a Hitler stash. That's the same thing as CNN doing multiple screenings and shows reporting news saying Joe Rogan's taking horse dewormer with a straight face, not ever saying it's a joke or acting as if it's a joke. Like,
Yeah.
how does that work? That's the same thing, but the other one you're saying is obviously a joke. This one is questionable whether it's a joke or not because they're not making any indication that it's a joke.
Yeah.
Sanjay Gupta isn't saying, "Oh, that was a
kidding,
joke."
guys.
Yeah, that was a joke. CNN's messing with you. There was a joke. We were all laughing about it back, behind the scenes,
Yeah.
and we're doing a joke. We're actually going to reveal it's a joke tomorrow on on CNN. That's not happening here though. Sanjay Gupta's not saying it's a joke, Joe. Relax. He's not saying that because he knows it's not a joke. He's actually laughing kind of nervously, like, they shouldn't have done that.
Guys. Just slow
Yeah,
down.
and literally said they shouldn't have done that. They shouldn't have said that. Yeah, they probably shouldn't have said that. Is what he said. He's like, yeah, that you're right. That's kind of bad. Like,
whatever. And it's like basically like a Hitler stash. In fact, it looks exactly like a Hitler stash, but actually it's
yeah, that's fine if you make it a joke, but if you're literally saying this person is a fan of Hitler and shaved his mustache so that in that way, that's a
Right
different
on.
phrasing, and you're not saying it's a joke. Like,
Yeah.
like a Charlie Chaplin stash. And it's like, that was not a fucking Hitler stash. That was a Charlie Chaplin stash. I was
Right.
doing a Charlie Chaplin.
Right, and if they knew you were doing a Charlie Chaplin stash, but they kept reporting that you were doing a Hitler stash,
Yeah.
wouldn't that be unethical, right? Right. It's weird how he's not coming to that one specific conclusion in his own analogies fucked from that. Because literally what they're doing is Joe Rogan has a Charlie Chaplin stash, went on his podcast and said, hey, I'm a huge fan of Charlie Chaplin, so I shaved my mustache to look like Charlie Chaplin. But CNN keeps saying it's a Hitler stash. Why do they keep doing that? Don't you feel weird working for a place that keeps saying my Chaplin stash is a Hitler stash when they know it's a Chaplin stash? Like,
Cosplay for Anime Expo. And they're like, well, yeah, we didn't say you were cosplaying as Hitler. We were just saying that you had a little Hitler stash. Like, and like getting super mad over this. I just think Joe Rogan is
but
not.
he's not super mad over it. He's just calling it out. You're allowed to call out when people lie about you.
The position, not a
And the
personal-
analogy you gave, you missed the very simple part of them knowing that that's not what it is, but still continuing to call it that and report it as that, and not making any indication that it's a joke or not, because it's not a joke. You just keep
They're
saying it's a
the style
joke,
of the story.
but it's not a joke. CNN doesn't report jokes. You know what I'm saying? They don't report news and then later on, and then say later on everything we just reported was a joke. Don't take any of that seriously. No, they don't do that. They report the news and they say they're reporting the news.
in the position to be bitching over like this degree of semantic fuckery.
That's
So
not
wait, hold on.
semantics. That's
Now
literally
this
they're lying about it.
Is
Why
the,
can't he
is the
call them up for
article which
lying about it?
critiques the misleading ivermectin study? Is this one critiquing the study that we looked at
That's
before?
totally irrelevant.
Oftentimes, you can say it's uncharitable,
Completely irrelevant.
but it's also a horse dewormer. I don't know why you're saying like, oh well, it does other things too. Yeah, well, it's also a horse dewormer. I don't care about making fun of people who take ivermectin
Yeah,
for
but
COVID.
it's not
Guys, I
making
wanna be
fun.
clear.
There's a difference between making fun. This is weird, right? Like how we just turned it into CNN's a comedy channel now. Like, huh?
Oh, they're just kidding, guys.
He's
They're
complaining
just
about CNN, not Comedy Central. You know, he's not there going, "Oh, Comedy Central keeps saying I took horse." He's not doing that. I don't get how he's
Morally,
thinking this
okay?
is a
Hear
joke.
how many
Like, where's he
fucks that I
getting that
give
from?
about making fun of people who take ivermectin instead of getting vaccinated against the virus? I don't care. I will never care. I'll never care about
And
this
let me
bitch
make
baby
a video
sensitivity from somebody
showing you
like
how
Joe
much I
Rogan.
don't care.
Who, in any other day, by the way, is one of these.
He
you know,
doesn't care that you make
free
fun of him.
speech
Make fun
warriors.
of him.
We say what we say. Don't take me too seriously, dude. You know, I'm
Yes,
just a monkey man.
exactly.
Bullshit.
But
And then he
CNN
gets, like,
is we're the
Take me
news. Take
seriously.
us seriously. If CNN was, we don't know shit. Don't take us seriously all the time. Joe Rogan probably wouldn't care. You know what I'm saying? He'd be like, yeah, but they tell you that they don't give a shit. Like, and
all
that
of a
they're not
sudden
honest.
he's like
you
a
know?
hyper fastidious.
You know, if it
that-
was like The Onion, if The Onion reported Joe took horse dewormer, Joe Rogan wouldn't care.
No.
The Onion tells you they're a parody. You know, they tell you they're joking. Like, yeah, don't take us seriously. We're a joke parody news. You know what I'm saying? But then CNN doesn't do that. They're not a parody news. They pretend to be news. That's what they are.
dedicated warrior against uncharitable interpretations of his stupid behavior. Vaush, lidocaine is a dog pain reliever. It's also used in
Yeah, but news probably shouldn't do that. You know what I'm saying? If you want to do that, that's fine. But the news probably shouldn't do that.
Is calling someone who takes lidocaine a dog pain reliever user fair?
That's
People are
the
asking
that's
the
the dog
exact
thing I said.
question,
So
but-
then now anybody who takes lidocaine, you're gonna say they're a dog pain reliever user.
Yeah.
If lidocaine is being used in humans in a way which is like relevant to the use, then there's no point in making fun of them, right?
Wow.
But what if?
But
like,
yeah, see, he
people all
keeps
of a
making it
sudden
make it
thought
fun.
that
That's the
best way to
only
treat
angle
COVID
he can take
vaccines
because
was
he
by
knows
getting
it's wrong.
lidocaine,
It has
but
to
none
be
of their
that.
doctors
He
would
has to be
prescribe it
aware
them,
of
so
this.
they
Like,
run off to fucking pet care stores to get lidocaine from there. Okay, lidocaine. So they
yes,
ran off to get
lidocaine.
lidocaine from there, and
It's
they're all
not
like
even with a
buying
D,
these
the first
fucking
one
like
with a D,
dog
it's with TH.
pain relievers and like eating them up or
LITHO.
whatever. Like, yeah, okay, make fun of them. I don't care. Yeah, for sure. I have no idea how you
yeah,
can watch
you.
my content.
But
and
nobody is saying you can't
it,
make
like-
fun of somebody for that. No one said that. It's the weird thing. He has to be doing it on purpose. There's no way he thinks CNN is joking when they report that. I don't believe that he would think that.
the right to complain about me being made fun of. You know, you should probably give a few fucks. They're victims of misinformation.
He's not
They're
complaining about being
literally
made fun
not-
of. He's
Holy
complaining
shit.
about them lying.
What is on
about
with you
it.
guys?
That's
Do you have like
different.
dads who are on ivermectin or something?
No.
I have no idea how you can. This is literally semantically not dishonesty. It's
It is.
uncharitability. And the
Yeah.
uncharitability is being directed because they're fucking morons and they're spreading the disinfo and they're perpetuating the pandemic. I don't care.
But that doesn't. Huh? How does that? But that doesn't go towards the ethicality of the news, though. The news still can't lie about you. That why would that be? How would anything he said there justifies the news lying about you? But this is what I say: the end justifies the mean. So it's like, well, they're saying stupid things that I don't like. So when CNN lies about them, that's totally fine.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But if CNN lied about something that's against me, I would say, oh, they're lying. You know, they're lying because that's not good. You know, that's not going to lead to a good outcome. But to me, them lying about Joe Rogan leads to a good outcome towards my goals. So that means it's okay, you know? But that's how these people are. That's what it means to be a radical to me, is these people are extreme. It's the ends justifies the means. No
Yeah.
matter how you get
By
to
any
the end,
means
doesn't
necessary,
matter. Yeah.
yeah.
If you got to crush a bunch of eggs to get to the end, then fucking crush them. You know, like, as long as you're
Comfortable.
getting to the end.
I don't
you know,
care.
that's all that
Well,
matters.
Seriously, like this is where the fun police are drawn. You guys will soy face when Richard Spencer gets punched, but you're going to complain about people saying that ivermectin is horse dewormer when that's where the vast majority of people taking ivermectin.
That's his own audience, because we didn't applaud when anybody punches anyone. I never been for
Never
anyone
that was-
being violent towards other people like that in that way.
and are getting their fucking medicine.
Sometimes I do when it's like, you ever watch those, like, what are those called? Like the karma ones, you know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Where
yeah.
like, and then the bully gets blah blah, and then you got a guy being physically violent with another dude, and then he gets his ass beat. That's when I cheer, and I'm like, yeah, the dude who's getting his ass, you know, the guy who was getting attacked won, you know, the small guy won, you know, the guy who was minding his own business. But if it's like ideological and you're just punching somebody because you don't like their ideas or what they're saying, that's stupid. Yeah, like I'm not for that. I would always be against that. So that's his own audience that do that. Oh, Billy Boom. He's such an idiot. The semantics are what make it dishonest. Yeah, exactly. No, it's for real. It's semantics. Yeah, we probably definitely should have ignored all social justice warriors because they would not be this big at this point. Yeah. That's what's funny about Destiny kind of turning around and being like, I feel like I created this far left popularity and now he's going against them because he thinks they've gone too far left and he's like, what the hell? He's like, I came online and debated conservatives and now people have gone too far left. And even though I totally think he's, sucking his own dick with that one. Like, I don't think he's that powerful that he turned that many people, but he did. But people like Vaush and the serfs and stuff did come out of his community. My God. But yeah, it is total semantics. It's crazy that he's saying that Joe Rogan complaining is semantics, but the semantic is them saying that it's horse dewormer.
From
They're the ones
Jesus
using
Christ.
semantics to be uncharitable.
It's easy done for
unfavorable.
conservatives, and pushing this line makes us look
Yeah.
stupid to right-wing audiences.
He's right too.
I
That's
genuinely
also
do
right.
not believe that is the case. No,
'Cause he
I think the
doesn't
vast
understand that.
majority of
That's
the
why he
discourse
doesn't
on ivermectin right now it should be characterized by contempt towards people who take it, and there's no way of doing that without fueling conservative victim complexes. What if we're super nice?
Yeah,
and
but
shit-
he took it, but he's not even claiming it cured him. So it's a different thing if he took it and said, it cured me, it works, I think everybody should take it. He's not saying that. Like, the most he said is, I took it with other stuff. I'm not even sure if that's what made me feel better or not. It could have been, my doctor thinks it was, actually, I'm pretty sure I watched that one. I'm pretty sure he says, my doctor thinks it was this thing that worked. And it was like that antibiotic booster thing that he took that made him feel better sooner. He still had to suffer the effects, but he felt better, like,
charitable all the
sooner,
time shit
like,
doesn't
24
work
hours after
when
that.
the right will just make up reality anyway.
Oh yeah, because the left never makes up reality.
Like,
Sure.
we're talking about people who spread misinformation for a living. You think that being
Projection much? Like,
They
you
do it,
just-
so it's okay if I
he
do.
he just said it's okay to do it then, right? Like, he just says the right does it, but he was, this whole time has been defending
Yeah.
misinformation, disinformation this entire time, and then says that they're the ones who do it all the time.
Yeah.
That's a projection. Like,
being semantically and technically and emphatically correct will prevent them from creating victim complexes where they say we lied. They say that we lie when we advocate that vaccines are safe.
I don't think they said that, but in the end, that's what you guys do lie. You admit to lying, and you admit that it's good for you guys to lie,
Yeah.
and it's okay to lie when it leads people further to the left. And that's his argument. So he's being
Joe
hypocritical
Rogan
here, complaining about something the right does that he does, and he admits to doing and defends doing.
Lee spreads misinformation about this stuff. You really think that if we make
When did you have to show proof of that? Like,
Yeah.
if he's saying Joe Rogan spreading misinformation about this, he needs to show that, because I've seen a bunch of stuff where people say that's what's going on, and it's not what's going on. It's not what he says, and they take him out of context. I would like to see if Vaush is gonna say something like this. This is why this is lazy ass shit these guys put out and low fucking quality content, because all these guys do is react to everything on the spot. You don't get to find these things. Now, look, he went up with some but to disprove him, pulls up some medical shit that he can't even read, and he's like, you know what? I'm not qualified to read this, and has to move on.
Yeah.
That would not have been there. You know what I'm saying? He would have had time if he just made videos. He would have had time to look into that, figure these things out, and put that in a video and give us the sources and shit. But it's these guys just react to shit on the spot. This is why they constantly contradict themselves, because they don't have time to think out and say, oh no, I've said this before, let me not say this now.
Yeah.
No, they say it on the spot, and then they have to backtrack and fix it and blah blah, and and just talk their way out of shit.
fun of them less, they'll be like, oh, well, now that I'm being taken seriously, I'm changing all my minds on how serious the pandemic is and ivermectin and all this. Like, come on.
The thing is,
When has
I'm not even on the right, but the one thing I know about most right wingers is they don't care that you make fun of them. They don't care that you joke on them. They don't care. It doesn't bother them. If anybody gets upset about jokes or people making fun of it and call it bullying, it's the left, right? Like, the left constantly calls anything you do against them as bullying. It's hate. Oh, you're spreading hate and bigotry and this and that from jokes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If anybody gets upset by jokes, it's the left. The right doesn't. They don't care. You could joke all about them all you want, and they'll just go, whatever. You know, in fact, the right has a meme saying that the left can't meet. You know, they're like, you guys aren't funny. Like, you know,
Pretty sure people
like,
went to jail or got charged for some jokes.
so they don't care at all. This is like when Devin just made that short video about Cenk talking about right wingers. Oh, if I said white people this and that, right wingers would be offended. No, they wouldn't. That's the thing. In fact, if they do respond to that, they would respond to that by saying, well, the left would get angry if we said this, but then they can say this about white people. Really, they don't get offended by it. They just call out the hypocrisy that you get offended by the opposite. You know what I'm saying? And they don't realize that. And they're like, huh? And like, Cenk thinks literally that right-wingers are going to get offended if he makes fun of white people. No. White people don't give a shit that you make fun of them. You know what I'm saying? It's really the other people that care, you know? It's the other side that cares that you make fun of them. That's why it's a lot of it's such projection. They think if I think this, then the other side must be thinking this. You know?
Anyway,
It's
what the
such
fuck are we
projection.
doing, huh?
Like he thinks Joe Rogan was mad there.
Dude, you don't
know?
understand.
You think
If we
he's
just
mad there? He
don't make
looks
fun of
stoned.
Joe Rogan, he'll stop
He's got a
spreading
kind of a
vaccines
smile
and
on his
stuff.
face almost.
So this
It
is
looks
that
like he's
article
having
that
fun.
takes down the previous articles here. Boy, those are a lot of words. I think we've looked over this before too.
It's a lot of words.
Also, I just want to say, get ready for my
Low
most
quality
consistent
content.
take yet. If it turns out ivermectin works, I'm still right.
No, you-
If there are clinical studies that are done and it turns out that the ivermectin actually does end up working, then I was still right the entire time.
What do you mean you're still right? What?
Because guessing that you should just randomly take a medicine to the exclusion of a vaccine with like no medical evidence and then being right after the fact is not good decision making on your part. It's closing.
That
your
doesn't
eyes,
mean
crossing
you're
the
right or
street, and
wrong.
lucking
That
out
just
when none of the cars hit you. Okay.
that just means
don't-
you had the better guess, but you were still wrong. You know, you had the more educated and better guess, but you're still wrong. That doesn't make you right. In the end, like, you know, how does that work?
get to close your eyes, cross the street.
Imagine
not
this
get hit,
guy
then turn
saying,
around and go,
"Wow, that was." Stop it again. How ridiculous is that? He literally said, "Even if I'm wrong, I'm right." That's what he's saying. He's like, even if I'm wrong, I'm right, because my guess is a better guess. Like, what? Oh my god!
I'm right, and I'm always going to be right.
So, like, say we roll dice, and I do the math, and I say the most probable next number to come up is 5. And then I rolled it and a 3 comes up. I'm still right because it was more probable than a 5 when it came out, right? Like, that's basically what he's saying. Even though a 3 came up and I was wrong, it wasn't a 5, but the 5 was the most probable one to pop up. So that still means I'm right because I guessed better than you did, even though you're right. It's ridiculous.
Dude, see, it was a good idea. It's not how that works.
That's not how it
Not how that
works.
works. We're not doing these post hoc justifications. If it turns out that ivermectin is an effective way of treating,
But
COVID,
what
then
you're
God,
doing is
go-
a pre-talk. You know what I'm saying? Like,
go
what?
for it, sure. But you have to wait for that to be proven. And I will not.
That
you know,
doesn't mean
forget
you're right.
The irony of people who are taking ivermectin.
That just
in
means you're
droves
more cautious.
Are the exact same group of people who were saying that the vaccine was dangerous because it hadn't gotten a full FDA approval yet. I see you. Your behavior is.
But Joe
known to
Rogan
me.
didn't say that.
Lie
He never said that.
about me
Lie.
taking
What he said is, why
horse
can't we
dewormer.
talk about it? I saw one where he said, but why can't we talk about that it hasn't been FDA approved yet? Like, you know, he's like, it's weird that you ask those questions and they call you anti-vaxxers. That's what that whole talk he had with Jimmy Dore was about. Like, and they twisted it to say, look, they're spreading, you know, anti-vax misinformation. No, they're just
shouldn't have
talking
said that.
about
Why
why
did
you
they do
can't
that?
ask
I don't know.
questions and talk
You
about
didn't
certain
ask?
To make fun
I
of
didn't
you.
do it.
without
You're the
people
bad
getting
guy
crazy
over
about
there.
I
it.
didn't ask. I
Fun
should have
of you.
asked before
But they
coming
did
on
it
your
with
podcast.
such glee.
No,
Yes, they
Joe.
did.
Yeah, no, to make fun of you. Now the Joe Rogan community is now like going to be hyper committed to this extremely like victim mentality, where they're the victims of
What?
mainstream media oppression because their favorite vaccine skeptic podcast host was made
What?
fun of
What?
by
What?
saying he took horse dewormer. When
But
the
that's
thing he
not
took
what happened.
was indeed a horse dewormer.
Dude, he's really
But can
sticking
also
by
be-
this joke thing. Does he literally think CNN's a comedy channel? Like, I don't. What? How is he sticking to this joke thing? I
The other
don't
things,
understand.
But they made
It's
fun of him.
15 minutes
'Cause
into
they
this,
called
and
it a
he's
horse
still
dewormer.
saying that it's a joke. But nobody
tragedy.
said it's a joke. Nobody on CNN has
Correct.
confirmed that
I'm
it's a
happy
joke.
I got through it. I don't wish it
I don't
upon
know why
anyone.
he would think
It
it's a
wasn't
joke.
fun,
It doesn't even make
but
sense.
it wasn't the worst cold I've ever had, and I got over it fairly quickly, relatively speaking.
I think that, and again, I am truly glad about that. I'm not. All kidding aside, I don't think anybody wishes you. Everybody wants you to be well and healthy, but I think the question is just in terms of the nuance of this. It's not a strategy to recommend
why
people
it's
get
wrong.
infected.
I'm
to
not
get their
recommending
immunity.
anybody get infected.
Yeah.
So they should get
I'm
vaccinated.
not recommending.
I think a lot of people should get vaccinated.
You're
but I
talking
think
Yeah,
a
he
lot of
just
people
said it there. I
Thank you,
think
Vaush.
he just. How is he anti-vax when he said, "I think a lot of people should be vaccinated"? He
Yeah.
just said that.
And he's
I'm not advocating that people get COVID. You know.
And Vaush, like this just
Look at-
parallels everything that Vaush just said,
Mhm.
where he's encouraging people not to get it and all this stuff.
Meanwhile, earlier, Vaush said he's literally advocating to
Anti-vax,
people
he's
not
not-
take the vaccine and take ivermectin, which is something
Vulnerable
he's
people.
never done.
Yeah.
If you just said vulnerable people,
Yeah,
that'd be a lot
older
of people.
fat people. I think a lot of those.
No, all people. This is vaccine skepticism right here.
No,
this
it's
is
not.
a way of
That is not vaccine.
grifting
vaccine.
off of the vaccine skeptic audience
What?
uh,
No,
without
it's
having
not.
to
That's
bite the
it. You've
bullet on
just
saying
been
that like
saying-
85-year-olds shouldn't be getting vaccinated. You know?
What?
it-
No, but he's saying old people, fat people, people over a certain age, yeah, which are the most vulnerable people. People that are not that vulnerable, he's-
It's incredibly stupid. Everyone should get vaccinated. The question is, why shouldn't?
Well, first off, everyone shouldn't get vaccinated because there's people who literally can't be vaccinated.
Yeah.
You know, they have certain medical conditions where they can't be vaccinated. So that's already bullshit, you know. And there's also certain ages that you can't vaccinate either. You
Yeah.
can't vaccinate a 2-month-old. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not doing that. Some pregnant women aren't, the doctor tells them not to get vaccinated. So already
fit
it's that.
people get vaccinated? Because even in fit people, COVID is way more potentially destructive than the COVID vaccine.
folks. My real concern.
I don't even think
That's
that's
not the
true
argument.
either.
No,
Because,
but yeah, that's not the argument either. Nobody said, I don't think Joe Rogan ever said
yeah,
that the vaccine's more destructive than the disease. I don't think he's ever said that.
no.
Weird.
I think he has that backwards because it sounded like that was what Sanjay Gupta was, his side was.
Yeah.
I might be wrong, but I think that was not Sanjay Gupta's.
Is this
So he's
urge to vaccinate children, and I don't
Why?
know what kind of
If it's not
data we
unhealthy,
have on the
We
long-term
vaccinate
effects
them
of
for
this.
everything else.
All right, with us now,
Oh, they cut it off.
We
Sanjay.
literally vaccinate them for like everything else. We vaccinate kids all the time.
Yeah,
for-
this is that he's also obfuscating the point here that the vaccine there are the regular style vaccines, but these mRNA vaccines are a new thing. This is the first time we've implemented this as a vaccine strategy,
Yeah.
like, in large scale. You know, it's a new technology.
Even if children couldn't die from COVID, and they still spread it to other people. Kids are disgusting. You send them off to daycare, and they're like licking doorknobs and shoving like other kids' fucking hands in their mouths. It's fucking disgusting.
Oh
And then
my
they go
God,
home to
you hear how he
mama,
talks about
and they
kids?
give
God.
fucking their grandma the
This guy's got
COVID
issues.
vaccine.
And, myocarditis can be a really frightening thing. They can develop chest pain, shortness of breath, things
It's
like that.
inflammation of the heart.
That's
correct?
what it is. And you got to think of it like this. The reason can happen in young people, can happen in anybody, but people who have really robust immune response. You're basically giving the vaccine and you're counting on the immune system to
Right.
really respond to that. If it responds a lot in someone with a really healthy immune system, it can cause more widespread inflammation.
Wait, you've done this 3 times tonight. You keep saying COVID.
Now, what's he
vaccine,
going to
you
say
mean
when
the COVID
Sanjay is
virus? Do I
saying that
keep
there is a
misspeaking that?
chance
I'm
that
so
a
sorry.
vaccine
Yeah.
in young people
COVID
can
virus.
cause
My bad.
damage?
Yeah,
You know?
that's why
People
I'm
feel
saying I
miserable
think
for
he
a
has
day or two,
his criticism
and in this case, it can
backwards.
cause inflammation around the heart.
Just-
Do we know what the long-term consequences
Inflammation
of
around the heart
myocarditis
is
in
not
young
a good
people that comes from the vaccine are?
I don't think we don't know. And I think the only way we can know long term
That's what Joe Rogan's been
That's
talking
what Joe
about. That's
Rogan's
exactly what Joe
talking
Rogan's been
about.
talking about.
any
Where's
of
the
these
problem
aspects of the
here?
vaccine.
Well, how's he going to twist it now? But it's a joke, Joe. It's a
Long
joke.
term stuff is with the
He's-
This is exactly what Joe
criticizing
Rogan
the wrong
talks
person.
about when they say that when they twist it and say that he's anti-vax. He's talking about the same shit Sanjay's talking.
Yeah.
How these
Well,
things
yeah.
aren't talked about.
So
You know?
no, if we could never prescribe vaccines under those conditions, then we would never be able to ever for children. You have to do tests on children, right? What do you want to wait 40 years? There's no evidence right now to suggest that the effects of COVID vaccines on children are going to be any more devastating than the effects of actual COVID. Okay? Again, all of this is being done relative to getting COVID. And it's not just a threat
But
to these
regardless, none of that is relevant. They're talking about it, what it is. You know, this is what could happen. They're not saying that, you know, don't take. I mean, even Sanjay's saying don't, that kids should take it. You know, he's not saying they shouldn't. Joe Rogan's skeptical about it, and he's kind of curious, you know, which is fine. Why can't somebody, you know, that it's, I don't know. I don't,
too.
I
Because
don't
even if they
get
got COVID
how they twist it
and
so much. It's
barely even
crazy.
got sick from it, that's another opportunity for a new for a new strain of the virus to evolve. Every person who gets sick, even if no harm is done to them, increases the likelihood that things will cycle around and develop a more virulent, a more dangerous a more dangerous virus. Caught myself that time. Thank you. There's no argument against this. There's just not. It's not.
It
Virulent,
is.
virulent,
Your son could
virulent.
get vaccinated, and
But they're
most
not.
likely
The thing
he
is,
would-
they're not really making an argument against it. They're more just talking about it. This is where these guys think everything is a debate. Joe Rogan and Sanjay aren't having a debate. None of this podcast was a debate. You know what I'm saying? It was them talking. But this is where they get into the problem that since their lives is all about debate, they think anytime you see two people talking and there's a disagreement, that it's a debate. You know what I'm saying? But there's not even that much of a disagreement here. They're just talking about stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Concerns are being discussed.
Yeah.
Is what it sounds like.
And he's doing it as if it's a debate going on. And he's saying like, oh, Joe Rogan's wrong because this and that. And it's like, no, Joe Rogan's not wrong. He's just talking. Like, he's not right or wrong.
fine if he got COVID, and that your son could catch myocarditis and have permanent heart problems.
Well, I
See,
don't-
like listen to this. Like,
It's true.
ignoring
That's
the
what
whole virality
Joe
spreading into
Rogan's
other
concern
people
is.
and the potential for new strains thing. It's like, well,
So, okay. See, this is where the ends justify the means mentality comes again. You see, he's saying you, as a parent, shouldn't know this stuff that they're talking about. You shouldn't know that your child's at risk and can possibly have this heart problem from the vaccine because it's going to happen in so few kids, and that the virology spreading of the children is going to slow down because of the vaccine. That's justified now, that
Yeah.
we're not telling you the dangers of the
dangers of the
vaccine to your
vaccine.
child. When Joe Rogan's just saying, why can't we talk about, you know, the possibility that this happened, even if it's tiny? Just the idea that there's a possibility that your child could have a heart problem for the rest of his life because of this vaccine. Why can't you know that? You should be able to know that, right? Like, you should be able to talk about that. The media should be able to talk about that. Like,
there's a very small chance that you might get this thing if you take it as a kid, which might lead to this in the future. Whereas COVID,
it's
we
like,
know-
imagine we come up with a new food that's super cheap and we could feed the world, but it causes this problem within,
Peanut allergies.
yeah, or something, yeah, like but like, say, let's say 5% of kids are gonna die in like 5 years from this food. You know what I'm saying? Where the rest will live on and fine, we can feed the world. Then we should never talk about that those 5% of kids are dying from it.
Yeah,
That's even a
too bad
possibility.
for
We
you,
should never talk
right,
about it.
guys.
And if you are talking about it, you're against feeding the world. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Oh, what? How dare look? They're talking about children dying from eating this. 5% of children. Oh my God! They're against feeding the world. They want children to starve. You know, they must be pro-starving of
Yeah.
children advocates.
Like
Like,
the GMO.
can give you
That's what's
permanent
going on.
breathing
Talking about
issues
GMOs.
and permanent heart issues.
yeah, exactly.
We literally know that right now. By the way, this is the guy you dumb fucks in chat were saying that we should all be super duper nice to, because maybe if we don't make fun of him for taking ivermectin, he'll stop spreading
Who said
misinformation.
to be
you
nice
know?
to him and not make fun
Maybe
of
if
him?
we're
Who
just
said that?
maybe if we're just super charitable.
But
and
what
we
he
all-
doesn't realize is he's putting this all on Joe. But Sanjay's also talking about this. It's
Yeah.
funny that he's not saying Sanjay's an idiot, blah, blah. He's agreeing with Joe Rogan, right? He's
That's the
completely ignoring that Sanjay's even in the picture here and putting this entire conversation on Joe when they're both having the same conversation and not disagreeing, you know?
Isn't that the point
All
of
the
Sanjay
time.
being there? Like,
Yeah.
I was like, you're a doctor. Like, you should have caught them on that while that was happening.
That's funny that he's not even bringing up what's
I-
going on there.
I don't know that we can say the person will be fine if they get COVID.
Isn't he
Joe.
still an ally?
A young boy.
How?
Well, if they,
Most young boys with no
when you say
comorbidities.
fine, you mean what? That they're not going to die?
I mean, like me, I had COVID.
You
I'm
look
fine.
like you look like you're
Big brain take on the virus, by the way. Dude, I'm fine. So
He's not big
there's
brain.
either
He
death
says it
or
all the
there's-
time.
Like, that's what he's saying right now.
Being
They're
the
strong
dots that
as an ox.
somebody
Yes, I
drew-
That's
give
why
you
he's
that.
talking,
But,
and
you know,
that's why he's asking
you
the
get
questions.
teenagers who will have
somebody who does
these long COVID naps. You get.
What does that mean?
They're tired all the time.
It's
They
been
get
a
these sort
year
of
of it.
long
I
hauler type
got that.
symptoms.
I slept for a long time.
Almost 25% of COVID-19 patients
That's not
develop
hard.
long-lasting symptoms, according to a new report. This number is going to get higher with time, by the way. Time will make this number larger as more long-term symptoms are discovered. Post-COVID conditions, medic hospitalized, long COVID.
But this hasn't been studied enough. We don't know if
What are
that
the
number's
effects?
true.
What
Just
does it say
because
the
they're
effects?
getting the thing is,
Like-
he's reading an article, but he's not looking at the study. They probably don't know. All they're saying is there's some symptoms that are appearing after that. Those symptoms might have appeared to COVID or not. You know what I'm saying? Like if I'm a smoker and I get COVID and then I have a permanent cough afterwards, that could be from me being a smoker. You know what I'm saying? But I might still report that, oh man, ever since I had that COVID, I haven't stopped coughing, while I'm smoking a cigarette, All types of shit. You could get heart disease, like, afterwards, and so they have to really study and see how many people. Let me see what it says here. Patients with serious case of COVID-19 were most likely reported to have post-COVID. With serious cases, which that's already a smaller percentage of people than who've had
Than most,
COVID,
yeah.
right? That's a specific group of people who've had it. But the study shows that people can develop long COVID even after a mild initial case. Okay. Half of the people who were hospitalized for COVID-19 then discharged developed at least one issue lasting 30 or more days. That's not even that long now. 30 or more days, that's it. A month. Followed by 27%. Well, see, this breaks down more. The thing said before 25%, but it keeps breaking down more. Followed by 27.5% people who were symptomatic but not hospitalized, which is the same thing, 30 or more days, and 19% of people who claim never reported an acute COVID, so they never even reported having it. Those symptoms could be from something else then.
Yeah.
That finding refutes the idea that young, healthy people will be fine after COVID infection. Symptom-free cases. I mean, not fine, but if you have lasting symptoms that only last about a month, that's not that bad either, though,
when I'm
right?
thinking long lasting, I'm thinking like
I thought they meant
months,
lifelong. Yeah.
or like a whole year has gone by now and you're still feeling this way.
Yeah, I thought they
That's how
meant
I-
like I'm gonna have to, my teenage son's gonna have to suffer like 40 years of not being able to breathe.
It only says the prevalence, not the effects. Heart disease, kidney failure tend to affect men more often. Difficulty breathing, fatigue. That's a lot of words. Oh,
That's a
boy.
lot of words. Yeah, that's why
Pain
you're
and breathing difficulties,
low quality.
intestinal issues,
for 30
hyperlipidemia.
days.
What are the conditions? I want to see them exactly. I want to see exactly what conditions. They were listed. At some point here, they're going to be listed. I hope they have a fucking chapter header. But here we go. Post-COVID conditions overview. Okay?
We'll be right
Pain.
back.
The top post-COVID condition. Breathing difficulties. Hyperlipidemia and hypertension. Malaise and fatigue. Migraine and or headache. Skin issues. Depression. Adjustment disorders. Abnormal heart results. GERD. Anemia. Hyperlipidemia. Again, I guess. Sleep disorders. General signs and symptoms. High levels glucose, cholesterol, BP. Hypertension, diabetes, and abnormal organ tests. And then rankings and how they affect everyone. And the first ranking that you see right here is for young people, 0 to 18. Pain, breathing difficulties, intestinal issues, anxiety, malaise, and fatigue. Is that what you guys want? Or you could take the fucking vaccine.
Less so in kids, but
How do you attribute depression to COVID? Depression and anxiety are physiological conditions. They are definitely affected by your physical state. You can literally get illnesses or suffer injuries that will give you depression. Not because you're sad because you've been injured, but because your brain chemistry is rearranged by the hormone washes and electrochemical signals that run through your brain. It is very susceptible. Like postpartum depression, yeah. Postpartum depression is literally like you've given birth and now the chemicals in your body are making you depressed. Like it's just a chemical imbalance. That
Sorry,
can
I
be
had to go
produced
by.
by COVID.
Well, it's gonna, the ad's gonna come
when
up
you talk
anyway.
about 30
Like Chris is telling me, we gotta go back.
Don't.
We gotta go back. He said something real stupid, I'm guessing.
He's showing
As he should.
a bunch of the symptoms and
Last
saying
month?
that
The Simpsons.
I just feel like we define I think we're allowed to have a nuanced conversation.
of what
Anxiety,
will happen
malaise, and
when
fatigue.
somebody gets COVID, and saying that the young people are going to be like suffering from that, and it's all like hard. Like I can't see it.
Yeah, it's too
But,
small.
like, it's-
Breathing difficulties, intestinal issues, anxiety, something in fatigue, malaise and fatigue, which is basically like having a cold. Like,
Is that what you guys want? Or you could take the
Essentially,
fucking vaccine.
Less so in kids, but
How do you attribute depression to COVID? Depression and anxiety are physiological conditions. They are definitely affected by your physical state. You can literally get illnesses or like suffer injuries that will give you depression. Not because you're sad because you've been injured, but because your brain chemistry is rearranged by the hormone washes and electrochemical signals that run through your brain. It is very susceptible. Like postpartum depression, postpartum depression is literally like you've given birth and now the chemicals
who
in your body
cares?
are making you
This
depressed.
has
Like
this
it's just a chemical
totally
imbalance.
irrelevant.
That can be
And
produced
and
into
it
by
tangents
happens
of shit.
COVID.
just like that, guys.
you know,
Like,
when you
just-
talk about
Totally
33%
irrelevant
of
to
people
anything
having
that's going on in
persistent
this.
symptoms that last months, I just feel like we define, like I think we're allowed to have a
It's fucking
nuanced conversation
random
about
fucking
this. We
rants and
measure things
shit.
in terms of life and death,
Yes.
and I get that. I mean, it's easy. It's public health. That's the way the numbers get presented, and frankly, that's our fault as well in the media to just say this is how many people have died. We don't know a lot about what this virus does to the body. We
Right.
probably shouldn't just think of it as another type of pneumonia or cold because it's clearly doing something else. A cold wouldn't just cause isolated loss of smell. Flu wouldn't even do that. And then so many people developing long-term symptoms.
It's a lot there. It's like trying to herd cats, Sanjay, in a discussion like that. He shoots
They're clipping it pretty hard right now. Is the last bit the ivermectin bit?
Testing you to see if you have the virus.
Yes.
The therapeutic is to treat you because you have the virus.
Yes.
I still think it'd be better not to get the
for a long
virus.
time now. Like, before they
I
quit
think
them.
it'd be better to get the virus and recover and have amazing immunity to
But
it.
what, like,
See, like he's literally saying it is better if you're healthy to
No,
get
For him,
the
he
virus
thinks he's saying
for
he
him
thinks
and
it's
just
better.
recover
That doesn't.
than it
He's
is
not
to get
advocating
vaccinated.
that it's better.
That's literally what vaccines do. The purpose of a vaccine is to do that, but safely without actually getting the virus.
Wouldn't it be?
well, you could get sick though.
You know what I think you should do? I think you
Get
should get
sick.
vaccinated and then get sick.
What?
This is why. Because then you got the vaccine
Hasn't that
protects you from a
happened, though,
bad
for some
infection,
people?
and then you get COVID. So then you get the robust immunity that's imparted from having the actual disease itself, which is far more complex and comprehensive than
I think the real issue is that we're not being mean enough to Joe Rogan.
you're getting from the vaccine that targets
I'm
one
joking
specific
about someone
protein,
isn't
right?
being
You can make that
You want to
argument.
joke
Yeah,
about
so
it.
that's the
So,
move.
all
You
right.
get vaccinated, let it wane, and hang around with a bunch of dirty people,
Okay, well,
and then get a lot of therapeutics on hand so you can take care of it quickly.
I will see your recommendation
wanna
and
do it?
and give you a
Should have come out with us last night. You probably would have caught it.
I almost did. Yeah. Now I know what your secret plan was. No. But what? But so
Getting COVID doesn't get you long-term immunity. Yeah, do you guys remember all the people who were like, dude, getting the virus gives you 27 trillion times as much immunity as getting the vaccine? Haha, the vaccine doesn't actually do anything. No,
What?
the immunity
Nobody
does
said
not
that.
last very long.
I don't think.
The immunity benefit, like, yeah, you can get COVID multiple times, very clearly.
You
Some
can get
patients
any.
can be
No one said
reinfected
You
it
can
in
get
a
any
year.
virus multiple
I'd
times. You
say
can
a
get the
second
flu
infection would
multiple
be
times,
mildly
even if you're
different.
vaccinated.
That's totally doable. That's the only reason that Bolsonaro is still alive. Yeah. Also, natural immunity is less reliable. Yeah. Also, when you actually
Huh?
get the natural
I think it's-
immunity for
I think it's
however
even
long it lasts,
reliable. Like,
you have the chance of further spreading it to people around you. You can't spread a vaccine. And every time you're gambling on serious
no, but with
long-term
the,
damage.
you can still get infected with the vaccine and spread the disease, even with the
I'm pretty
vaccine.
sure
So he's
exactly
completely.
that's happened.
I'm sure that's a point he's probably brought up before, and he's completely ignored
Every
it.
time.
Yeah.
There's what I mean about shooting off the
so
hip.
for
He doesn't
you,
know what
Joe
he's
Rogan,
saying.
yes.
You know what I'm
So
saying?
you
Like he's
had it.
watching it
Yes.
straight.
not
and
get
just
one shot of the vaccine.
reacting to it.
No,
Why not?
because I have better immunity than I would if I was vaccinated.
But does he, Sanjay? Also, he's not a doctor.
He
He sure is
could.
talking like one, as if
True. Joe Rogan is a fucking clown. And just
No,
like
but he probably
Jimmy
trusts his
Dore,
doctor, but he's not
they have
advocating for that. That's what he's probably spoken to his doctor and probably
Yeah.
gotten that recommendation from his doctor.
He doesn't have the vaccine, but what I'm sure he Doesn't he get tested? Like everybody that has gone into the studio, don't they get?
They did
COVID
for a while. I
test?
don't know if they're still doing that, but I mean, to travel, you probably do have to
Yeah,
get tested.
yeah.
So I'm sure anybody who flies over to go to his podcast probably get tested.
Yeah. So what if he gets tested and sees that like he hasn't gotten the virus since being sick? So that
When they go to UFC, when he works at UFC events, he gets tested every time, you know. Or maybe not anymore that they have vaccinations, but I don't know. Maybe he hasn't been vaccinated.
Realize that the best way to make money right now, and I don't, by the way, I think that Joe Rogan is dishonest, okay?
What?
I have long since moved past the idea that he's
Look
some
who's
kind of
talking
just, like,
about who's dishonest,
Yeah.
right? When he's been lying this whole time, making it seem like that what they're saying about Joe Rogan was a joke, and it
Is
wasn't
he-
like they were putting it as news.
Is he doing what Nicole Arbor does, where she reads the medical magazines and she's the expert?
so she
too?
knows she's
Like,
an expert now.
you know, like a-
like exceptionally stupid guy who just agrees with whoever's in front of him. When I watch
That's
him
not
talk
what
about,
he does. He disagrees with people all the time. In fact, there was disagreement in this one of these clips that he watched. You know,
certain issues, dishonesty is for me a much easier
he's
explanation for his
he's
behavior.
complaining about what Joe Rogan's saying, agreeing with what Sanjay's saying, and then says that Joe Rogan agrees with anybody who's in front of him.
yeah.
You see the contradiction in that right there? Like, how funny is that?
Yeah. Did he
Jimmy
forget
Dore's
who he was
Yeah,
dishonesty.
did he
talking to?
forget
Like,
the video
Seems
he
pretty
just finished
forthcoming.
watching?
But yeah, like it's just a good grift right now. Hey, the most recent video from the Jimmy Dore show is about the video we just watched.
Yeah.
Literally 6 hours
Yeah, how crazy
ago.
is that? You guys
a
cover
video
the
where
same
he's
thing.
taking Joe Rogan's side against CNN.
He's taking Joe Rogan's side because Sanjay took Joe Rogan's side. Everybody takes Joe Rogan's side in that because Joe Rogan was right. They
Yeah.
lied about it.
This is why
Sanjay
was
agrees
like,
to it.
We're going so fast.
You're calling it a joke. Like, he can't even say that it was a true comment. He's saying it's true. Oh, well, it's true because it is also a horse dewormer, which he knows is a fucking. He said it was uncharitable. If anything, it's uncharitable. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
But then he's saying it's a joke. So
Yeah.
what's the
What is
problem
it?
here? Why wouldn't you take his side on it then?
Saying that they lied because they said a horse dewormer is a horse dewormer. Unvaxxed patient denied kidney transplant.
But that's lying.
How much
That's you said it was
Ever get the
uncharitable.
feeling you're being watched? Maybe you are. Hackers can see what you send over Wi-Fi. Or steal.
vax shit do you think we can find here when we look for it? I mean, unhinged vax rant, we've got that. This one's against Joe Rogan, so that might be vaccine based. I don't really know. Fauci versus Fauci. Unvaxxed National Guard replacing unvaxxed medical workers. Are the National Guard being brought in to replace the New York City unvaxxed nurses? Unvaccinated? Aren't the National Guard vaccinated? Yeah. The National Guard is currently under a vaccine mandate. The deadline is coming up soon, and not all of them have fulfilled it, but they're currently under a deadline for a vaccine mandate.
You know what's
Okay.
funny is he's just looking at the titles. Like, he's
Yeah,
not
as
actually
if he's-
watching what Jimmy Dore's saying.
He can
He
predict
does
exactly what
clickbait.
it is.
Jimmy Dore does clickbait. He's bitching and responding to Jimmy Dore shit as if we could read Vaush's subtitles to his videos and argue with that,
Yeah.
you know, as opposed to watching what he says.
Sure. Cool.
So, I mean, this is a lie right here. Joe Rogan wasn't whining. He was asking questions. Like,
Study vaccines
talking
being
about it with Sanjay.
incorrectly. Fauci has no... So, that's a quick one. Vaccine.
yeah, Jimmy's a conspiracy nut. Didn't you know that? He's
Yeah.
super anti-government conspiracy, super far left winger. You know what I'm saying? He thinks the government's constantly trying to do something to people. That's who he is. He's
Vaccine.
always been that.
Greenwald targeted by CIA. Yeah, nice. Vaccine. Like, constantly.
Vaccine,
I'm surprised
yeah.
YouTube allows these
Okay.
up. Well, he never goes
Guess
so
what he
far-
also does? If you keep going, he's going to see a whole bunch of this shit too. Greenwald.
Yeah.
You know. Hillary's lawyer indicted for lying. You're going to see a bunch of shit about that too. AOC sells out again. He does that over and over again too. because AOC isn't left wing enough for Jimmy Dore, so he's constantly making videos about how she's not left wing enough. Like, how is that
To
not
like
something?
engage in COVID denialism, he'll just try to present like a half story on stuff, and it's not.
No, he doesn't deny COVID. He says COVID's a thing, but he thinks he doesn't trust anything from the government. So if the government's trying to give out vaccine, he's not going to trust that. He doesn't trust police. He doesn't trust anyone of authority. He thinks they're always out to get you. How do they not know this? They've been watching him for how long? Like, he was on TYT doing the same shit.
Like, it's not against YouTube TOS to say, like, I don't really... It's not against YouTube TOS to say, I think you should talk to your doctor before getting the vaccine or whatever. Like, that's not anti-YouTube TOS, you know? But he goes up against the line, too. They're still talking
you
about...
should talk to your doctor before... Like, why shouldn't you talk to your... Is there a reason why you shouldn't talk to your doctor before you get it? If you can, why wouldn't you?
Hunter Biden? I mean, it's a Republican YouTube channel. What do you want? When was the last time Dore criticized a Republican?
It's
Never.
a Republican? Never. What? He's never criticized a Republican. I bet we could debunk that right now, but I'm not like... Vaush is in a pull right now. Do it. But I bet any one of you could go on Jimmy Dore's channel, and I bet he's, there's parts where he's complaining about it, right? But the thing is for Dore is that he's so far left. He says it's a Republican channel. It's not. It's a super progressive channel. I mean, Jimmy Dore's show on TYT was called The Aggressive Progressives. That was the name of his show because he's an aggressive progressive. And no person on the left in politics is left enough for him. And that's the problem. So he's not a Republican thing. He's more left. He's way further left to TYT.
And he probably never will again. I wouldn't be surprised if the next time Dore criticizes a Republican, it's the next time it's like a rhino, you know? Like, the next time a Republican breaks rank with, like, the Republican Party and does something that's, like, sort of leaning in with the Democrats, he'll attack them. He lightly criticized Republican CRT fear-mongering and was downvoted massively. Oh, that's true.
So somebody said Jimmy Dore is a Republican. That's why. Jimmy Dore has never voted or advocated for Republicans in his life, I don't think. Where do they get that he's a Republican? It's so weird.
He said that CRT isn't a big deal, and he had more dislikes than likes.
TYT does this too, which is crazy, because Jimmy Dore is literally way more left than TYT. And in fact, the rift between TYT and Jimmy Dore was that started because Jimmy Dore was calling out AOC for not pushing healthcare enough. Right? He was like, oh, refuse to vote for Nancy Pelosi unless she, promises she's going to fight for healthcare and push a healthcare bill, And Cenk was like, no, this isn't the right time, blah, blah, if we lose that seat, blah, blah. That was the argument. And Jimmy is an aggressive progressive, like he says. He's pushing for the progressives in the Democratic Party to be progressive, and they're not. They're not progressive enough for him. They're getting this totally backwards.
Why do they call them rhinos? RINO. Republican in name only. Basically, fake Republican. All right,
So
cut it out.
How can you be a fake Republican? If you vote Republican, you're a Republican, right? Like, how are you a fake Republican? If you're a Republican that votes Democrat, then you're a Democrat. You're not a Republican. Sorry. Maybe if you do it once, whatever, more often than not, you're a Republican. You can say you're a Republican. But there's people who are independents, too, that are in between and go back and forth. But you can be independent and vote Republican more. You just, you're more Republican leaning. But that's weird to call Jimmy Dore Republican when he's pro-healthcare, every progressive movement. He's just really hardcore about these progressive things, and he calls out people for not being progressive enough. Strange. Oh my god. It's ridiculous. That's pretty funny. But also, let's see if I can find another one to watch, but we might be done as well. We'll see. Man, he's ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
See if Lance has done something. Maybe he's done the same thing. So Lance I guess it's an inside joke or something, but Lance on Twitter changed his name to the Lords, which is the opposite of serfs, right? Which is weird. Like, is that supposed to be funny? Like, oh, I'm gonna call myself the opposite, and that's gonna be funny? I don't know. I don't get it. Oh, also, there was the Dave Chappelle stuff. That was funny too, right? And people were getting mad at that. But we watched another clip where he talks about a transgender friend that was a comedian that he helped,
Yeah, that was
do
such
stand up.
I
But
don't
they
know if you
eventually
guys saw that story.
committed suicide, and he was really sad about it.
That
But it
was
was
really
a
sad,
really
yeah.
nice story that he tells, and it's funny that they all freaked out about what he said in that one clip and completely avoided everything else he said. You know, like if the rest of the that's what they do. That's what I'm saying is that just like Vaush we just saw right now was attempting to debunk Jimmy Dore's videos by just looking at the titles, you know, and not actually watching the videos. Like, how does he know what he's saying? Vaush himself uses clickbait titles, you know. Jimmy Dore does, you know.
Dick things and just look at a dork even.
Yeah, the titles are exaggerated. You can't really. Oh, okay. Yeah. See, okay. So the Lance does the same one. We'll do.
There's old Erin Burnett lying her face off. Joe Rogan says he has COVID, taking livestock drugs despite warnings.
Yes. Garbage. CNN's garbage. Garbage reporting. Trash.
Oh, okay.
Great.
Well,
Can you also report upon the fact that there was an increase in poisonings that came from regular people taking ivermectin because they don't have access to Joe Rogan's doctor or just doctors in a lot of cases? And because of that, they were very scared.
Yeah,
and
so
their favorite podcaster was saying, hey, by the way,
Okay.
I don't know if you should take the vaccine if you're a healthy person.
Yeah,
You know,
so?
depends. The jury's out on that. Not FDA approved,
So?
you know, kind of scary. A couple people have died from AstraZeneca. Blood clots. Scary stuff. What do you think? Hey, by the
That
way,
is scary,
there's this
though.
drug. It hasn't been proven to be effective in treatment of COVID. It has been proven ineffective in treatment of parasites. And it's not FDA approved for the use of COVID in humans. But doctors, like my doctor, will prescribe it for me. So, hey, good luck out there. To my hundreds of millions of listeners. Hopefully none of you take that advice and go buy horse paste. Hopefully that doesn't happen.
None of that happened. Yeah, like none of that happened. What he said is he went to his doctor and said, "Hey, I'll be a guinea pig," basically, and took a bunch of stuff, including ivermectin. And he's been fine, and he recovered quickly from it. Whether it has to do with that or not, he's not verifying because he doesn't know. But they make it seem like he just went up there and said, "Hey guys, take this." You know, and it's like, he's not
If you haven't
saying-
been following the saga,
and he's talking about what he thinks, not what he's recommending. He's saying, "I think that if you're healthy, you shouldn't have to worry about it." That's
Rogan, you know, the one who took the ivermectin to cure the COVID-19.
not what he did already. That's not what he did.
Apparently just went right into a CNN anchor because they lied about him promoting horse paste or saying that he had taken horse paste because he didn't take the horse paste. He took the ivermectin for people. There's ivermectin for horses and there's ivermectin for people.
And there's ivermectin
I haven't
for
actually seen the
pigs,
clip yet.
for dogs.
I'm really hoping Sanjay Gupta at one point is going to say something to the effect of, yes, you may not have taken it yourself, but I'm sure you can understand that the average American doesn't have access to multi-million.
And why is that his fault? What does that have to do with him?
Yeah.
If he's saying I got it from my doctor, why would that make him liable
for a
for
bunch of
people who aren't getting it from doctors, right? Like, it's like if I said, "Hey, I bought a gun from a gun dealership." Yeah, but you understand that there's people buying them at gun shows, right? Or buying them in the streets, right? You understand there's people buying guns in the streets. It's like,
but that's not
yeah,
where I got
but
mine.
what I was talking about is that I went to a gun show and I bought a gun. Now, a gun store and bought a gun at the store where they, did a background check and all this. Yeah, but you know that there's people buying them in the back of trunks in the streets, right? Like, huh? Yeah, okay. Well, how am I liable for that? Because on my podcast, I said I went to the gun store and bought my gun legally, and right.
They're like celebrity doctors. That's not something most people have. And ivermectin isn't actually prescribed by doctors for treatment of COVID-19. So the average American doesn't have access to what you were touting as a life-saving miracle drug.
But he didn't tout it as that. Do you see that? Like, how did he twist it already? You see that shit? He's saying now he just said Joe Rogan is touting ivermectin as a COVID-19 miracle drug.
Yeah,
that's what he said. But he
what-
never said that. He doesn't even say the ivermectin cured him in any way. Does he say that? He says it's one of the things he took and he healed up quickly, but he doesn't know.
But he doesn't know.
Wow.
What they do
They
have
twist
access
it.
to is, of course, horse paste. So naturally,
But he's not saying
No
to
one's saying
take horse
take
paste.
that.
So the first thing he's saying is naturally. So he thinks people are stupid. Is what it is.
There was suddenly an increase.
He's saying naturally, if you hear someone say, "I went to my doctor and got prescribed this thing," naturally, if you don't have a doctor, what would you do?
Go get
You go get an animal. You'd go to a pet shop and get an animal version of that. Why would you do that? Do you think people are stupid? What?
Increase in sales and poisonings from people taking horse paste because their favorite podcasters. Well,
Is it because of that? Can he prove that it's because their favorite podcaster said he took it prescribed from a doctor?
I think that you'd have to make a huge
and I can't really say for sure if that cured my COVID-19. That's what's happening. Are you sure?
Numerous other people had said that ivermectin could potentially
numerous other people now numerous other people means Joe Rogan can't say something. That's
cure them.
That's what I mean.
The same people who you've been fear-mongering to for a very long time about not taking the vaccine, most likely unvaccinated, could potentially be getting COVID and now are desperate.
I don't think he's been fear-mongering that. I think he's been saying, why can't we talk about it and ask questions, I think is what's happening.
And unfortunately are poisoning themselves taking horse paste. And this whole thing is just horrifying, and you should probably acknowledge your role in it. Would probably be
what role?
All Joe Rogan's concerns
role?
Is this helped? This was prescribed by my doctor. Yeah. These things are what possibly helped me, and why is that not okay? And also, he's concerned about the vaccine mandates. So those sound like his concern and like his opinion from a personal perspective. Like that's all he's talking from. And like this dork again is acting as if he's talking on behalf of every fucking person.
No, yeah, this is the weird thing is that they don't understand the concept that someone can be popular but not listened to in that way, right? Like they think, look, this many people listen to him, then that means this many people agree with what he's saying.
Doing exactly what he's saying, not listening to the doctors. Just
again, remember Vaush put out a tweet earlier, right, about right-wingers or conservatives are trying. He said conservatives are really struggling to not like Squid Game or something because it's anti-capitalist or something.
Yeah.
But it's like, do you think people can't watch something they disagree with?
Yeah.
And like, I enjoy many things that spread a message that maybe I don't agree with, but it's well made and I enjoy the story, so I like it. You know what I'm saying?
I don't like murder, but I watch murder mysteries. Like,
I like punk rock. I grew up to punk rock. Sometimes there's a lot of like really progressive, far lefty, even communist kind of like punk. I like the music and I listen to it and I'll sing along to it. I don't agree with it, but I sing along to it. I'm not that petty that I am like I even have friends that I disagree with. You know what I'm saying? But these guys are not those people, and they think right wingers are those people. I keep saying right wingers. He specifically said conservatives. He thinks conservatives are those people. But the truth is, he's projecting the left are those people. The left are the people that if they disagree with something, they can't like it. Even to the point of exclusion, where it's like, oh, I would have loved this story, except it wasn't diverse enough, or it didn't have, this many people that look like me in it. Like they're the ones who wanted to agree with them more, even if they like something. Whereas I don't know if conservatives do this, but I mean, in general, there's a lot of people who can just enjoy content for the art of it and not care about what the person who made it thinks. I'm a huge fan of H.P. Lovecraft. H.P. Lovecraft had a lot of racist views and xenophobic views. I don't agree with those views, but I love the stories he wrote. I don't give a shit what his views were in personal life for me to enjoy and look up to the art that he created. Like, what does that have to do with it? I don't care. Plus, he was late 1800s, early 1900s. Tons of people were racist at that time. A lot of racist views. Yeah, it was a totally different time. I'm not saying that that's justified, but I just don't care. On top of that, the dude was a nutbag and a hermit and shit like that. I don't look up to those aspects of him, completely antisocial. Like, that could have all gone into that. Like, he had serious mental issues, Probably somebody you would say probably had autism, but people didn't know what autism was at that time because he was really antisocial and introverted and stayed away from people. He had more closer friends who were pen pals than people that he knew face to face, because he just was an odd person to be around. He didn't know how to act around people. So, but I'm saying you can still enjoy an art regardless of what the message is. If you agree with the message, you probably like it more. I'm not saying you wouldn't, but I'm just saying that, like, even if you don't agree with it, you might. Look, I liked, a lot of people disagree with me on this, but I liked the Watchmen series that they did on TV, on HBO, even though it was super aggressive and super, like, BLM and shit like that, totally lying about the Tulsa race riots and how it went down, all this shit, and super about race and bad police and stuff. But I still enjoyed it. I thought it was well written. It was well directed. The scenes were done great. It still kind of bounced off the comic book. It still kind of went with that. And, you know, like, I found it to be a good television series of The Watchmen. You know, it wasn't about things that I agree are happening or, you know, I agree to make stories about and stuff like that. And it's pushing a political agenda, which I disagree with. But I still enjoy it. Like, I can't not make myself not enjoy something like that, you know. If it's well done, it's well done. You know, I can't say much about it. I'm not like, you know, you get people like the Quartering and them with like everything that's like, now it's like you can't even have a female lead, or they're like, oh, feminist propaganda. You know, and sometimes sometimes there are female leads. We had that in the 80s, remember, guys? You know, like we had fucking Sigourney Weaver and Lyndall Hamilton back in those days, right? Like, the Bionic Woman and Wonder Woman.
Like stuff that's actually pretty enjoyable when you put that stuff aside. But those people can't just put that stuff
No,
aside.
yeah, they can't put it aside. There's a difference between people ruining a story by focusing more on the message than the plot.
Yeah.
Than there is if you can write a good story, a good plot, and the message is really in the background and subtle, it can be done well and you can enjoy it anyway, regardless of what, you know, and you hit a larger audience, yeah. And even growing up, when you read literature and stuff like that in school, they always tell you about the subtleties, right? That's why after you read a story, you discuss what's the meaning behind all of it, you know? Because it's supposed to be subtle with it. You're not supposed to throw it in their face. That's why we study those things in school, is to like, so that we can learn how to find the subtleties and read behind the lines, you know?
Retort is maybe something close to what I would have wanted to say.
Great interest. Dr. Sanjay Gupta over at CNN appearing on the Joe Rogan podcast. Both Crystal and I listened to the entire
But
thing.
to this day, I mean, how long has Joe Rogan been like one of the top podcasts, and how long has he been saying that he's an idiot? Don't listen to me. I'm not an expert in the shit I talk about. He says it all the time, constantly.
I've talked to everyone.
You know?
I am now an expert. Listen to me. Me only.
Oh, but when he says he won't have Dave Rubin on because he's a liar, and he won't have Candace Owens on as a liar, these guys probably love that aspect, right? But these other things, you know.
Recommend that you all go do so as well.
The only one at CNN that's glad.
No. We're not.
The rest of them are all lying about me taking horse medication. We should talk about that.
That bothered you.
So
It should
his
bother
money
you
goes
too.
to
They're
support
lying at your
Joe Rogan.
network about people taking human drugs versus drugs for veterinary.
Calling it a horse dewormer is not a flattering thing. I get
It's
that.
a lie. It's a lie on a news network, and it's a lie that's a willing. That's a lie that they're conscious of. It's not a mistake.
Yeah.
They're unfavorably framing it as veterinary
That's
medicine.
what he's complaining.
Well, the
They're
FDA
unfavorably. That's what he said, right? But
veterinary
Vaush kept saying it was a joke. Is it a joke, or is it an unfavorable representation of what's going
this
on?
thing out. You saw that. Did you see that thing that the FDA put out?
What did the FDA put out?
It was a tweet, and it was snarky. I admit it. They said, "You are not a horse. You are not a cow. Stop taking this stuff," or something like that.
Why would you say that when you're talking about a drug that's been given out to billions and billions of people, a drug that was responsible for one of the inventors of it making winning the Nobel Prize in 2015?
For what?
Yeah, but okay. The FBI thing, though, they're kind of taken out of context too, because I don't think they literally say don't take ivermectin. Don't take medicine that's for a dog, a horse, or a cow, is what they're saying. So don't take those forms of ivermectin, basically, they're saying. And that's because of what Lance is saying now, is that there are people out there
taking the action.
Honestly, these are probably some like really dumb redneck ass people down south in the middle of nowhere who actually probably even have ivermectin horse dewormer on their property. Because they have horses, they have farm animals and stuff. Or not even that, but they can just drive to the middle of town and there's stores for farm stuff and animals, and you can buy probably ivermectin over the counter for horses, you know. But those are the people taking it, not these people, they can't afford doctors, so what are they going to do? No, these people can afford doctors. They just don't care about going to the doctors. They're idiots. They're super low-level idiots living in the middle of nowhere.
For what, Joe? What did he win the Nobel Prize for? What's the drug's intended use? What's it really good at doing?
But that doesn't matter. That's not what they're discussing right now. The argument is that they're knowingly lying about what Joe Rogan took. You know, they're no unfavorably talking about it unfavorably, knowingly, unfavorably.
Yeah,
Basically smearing him. That's what the argument is. The argument isn't that it's not even the argument that Joe Rogan's right about what he's saying. It doesn't matter if he's right or wrong. The argument is that CNN is smearing him, knowingly, unfavorably phrasing what's happening in order to make him look bad, purposely make him look bad.
Drug that has been shown to stop viral replication in vitro. You know that, right? Why would they lie and say that's horse dewormer? I can afford people medicine, motherfucker. This is ridiculous. It's just a lie.
I don't think anyone is
But don't you think that a lie like that is dangerous on a news network when you know that they know they're lying? You know that they know that
that's something that Vaush ignored that he said in his thing on a news network. He's specifically saying that's why Joe doesn't care if you make fun of him on your Twitter. He doesn't care if you're a joke magazine that's making fun of him. He doesn't care about that.
Like, isn't that funny? They're talking about spreading
medicine.
Joe Rogan spreading misinformation, but this is a news network.
This is a news network. That's whole Joe Rogan's entire complaint is this is a literal news network spreading misinformation. And they're complaining about him, who is not the news, who's just a regular podcast dude interviewing people. And saying that, like, who complained about Larry King spreading misinformation? Whoever complained about that? Larry King just interviewed people. He was on a news channel even. He was on CNN, but his job was to interview people, not to give you the news. Nobody complained about him spreading misinformation because there were interviews. He even, he said Seinfeld was canceled. He said that. Jerry's like, Larry, you think we were canceled? He was like, we went out on top. What? He's like, who's feeding you your information? What's going on here, Larry? But that's the thing is that Larry King didn't have to be completely accurate in everything he said because he's an interviewer. He's not giving a news, just like Joe Rogan is not a news podcast. He doesn't even go over the news most of the time. He just interviews people. Sometimes he'll go over current events and talk to it with talk about it with the people he has on.
Like here it is.
But it's not like every day he has a format where he goes in and reads the news first before he has, talks to somebody.
You got it right here. Somebody gave it to me.
Unfortunately, we're not watching the video version, but I assume at this point, if you needed me to narrate what was happening, Joe Rogan reaches under the counter and pulls out a giant heaping pile of horse paste and begins to swim inside it.
All right, hang on.
That was supposed to be funny. That was supposed to be a joke and to make you laugh. But that was
we're like going so fast.
I mean, he didn't even laugh. He didn't even look like he thought it was funny. It was just like some random shit he said for no reason.
It's like I feel like I'm missing.
Do you think that's a problem that your news network lies?
Well, I don't.
Dude,
what did they say?
They lied
What did they
and said
say?
I was taking horse dewormer. First of all, it was prescribed to me by a doctor.
Yeah.
Along
they
with
shouldn't have said it was
bunch
horse.
of.
He just said that he shouldn't have. They shouldn't have said it was. He says it under Joe Rogan's breath and doesn't finish it. But he says they shouldn't have said it was horse dewormer. This is the doctor that works for CNN as their medical advisor on CNN.
Their medications.
If you got a human pill, because there were people that were taking it, the veterinary.
Okay, so
they're talking about it now. Even Sanjay's bringing up also. There's people that were taking the veterinary version of it. Like he's bringing it up now. They're discussing that.
Let's Political Puppy resub on Twitch. Oh, thank you,
but he
Political
pauses it
Puppy.
right
By the
there
way,
when they
Political
start
Puppy,
talking
you don't have
about
to sub
exactly what he was saying
on Twitch or anywhere. Just enjoy. Enjoy. I'll buy the subs for any of the mods. I've said this before. I am going to be really sad if during the entire course of this, Dr. Sanjay Gupta does not at least once say to him, do you understand the dangers of what you did, Joe? Because yes, it's bad. It's bad.
There's barely any danger in what he did. Yeah. He's not the news. He's not an expert. He's not Dr. Oz. No. People still shouldn't even listen to Dr. Oz. He's a dude on TV, but at least Dr. Oz is at least a doctor. Like Joe Rogan's not even calling his show the Dr. Rogan Show.
Sanjay even knows that what Joe Rogan's doctor recommended to him is perfectly fine because he's is he just pretending to be a doctor? Like
Right.
This is what doctors would recommend, possibly.
Yeah, what's the
have
danger?
recommended,
He thinks that nobody's listening. That people aren't doing this because of Joe Rogan. This is the problem, is they think, like I said before, yeah, they think because he's popular, people listen to him, but they have no proof that these people taking it are taking it because of Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
There's way worse people that both sides call, like Alex Jones and shit like that, who might say stuff that people are listening to. But not necessarily Joe Rogan. I don't think people listen to Joe Rogan. I've never took him that way. I've never met or talked to anybody who thinks Joe Rogan is an authority to listen to on stuff besides martial arts, you know, or combat sports.
Had more than one doctor on his channel. That doesn't mean that Joe Rogan's now Dr. Joe Rogan.
Yeah, and nor does he claim to be. That's what I'm saying. At least if he claimed to be, that'd be a totally different thing. Or if he claimed to be a news podcast, that'd be a totally different thing. But it's not.
That on CNN,
and they're very open
on,
about
I mean,
not
if you're
being
already
an
on the left,
expert
you know,
on
CNN's
things
just like
and
trash,
not
right?
being somebody
But
that you should take
shame on
recommendations.
CNN for doing that. CNN very easily could have flipped the entire script on this thing and said Joe Rogan takes experimental, unverified, un-FDA approved for its use medication ivermectin as prescribed by his doctor. Which, of course, is fear-mongering people who don't have access to other medicines to take the horse paste. They could have added that part instead of saying Joe Rogan.
But you don't have.
Yes, that's fact. That's a lie. That's a fact.
That's also a lie because you don't have proof that him saying that led to that. In fact, when I heard that, the news of that people were being hospitalized for taking the horse ivermectin, that was before Joe Rogan even took it.
Yeah.
Way before Joe Rogan even took it. That was way before that. And Joe Rogan took it after that, and I've not heard of that happening since Joe Rogan came out and that. And now they're linking him to that when the chronological order of that is not correct. And if I'm not gonna do it or anything, but I'm saying, like, if people wanted to, I bet you could probably look up the news articles of when that was happening and show that was before the podcast where he announced that, yeah, I had COVID and I took this. I got it from my doctor. I bet you any money you'd find that there's like a good weeks, maybe even months between.
That's why the horse jokes were all made about him, because people were.
Yeah, because that was already happening where people were taking. Yeah, it wasn't after. It wasn't like Joe Rogan took and then people were taking horse dewormer, and then they said Joe Rogan's taking horse dewormer. No, that was already a thing way before Joe Rogan took it.
Actually incorrect.
I think it was even afterwards that Jimmy Dore and Joe Rogan talked about it, which was already months ago.
Yeah.
And I think that was already a thing for a few weeks even before that. They probably even bring it up that people were taking the horse, during that podcast.
And you've given him so much fodder now, like so much more fuel that he can go around doing this.
Medication.
Doing what?
You're not
interviewing
you got
people,
it from a doctor, so that it shouldn't be
giving
called.
his honest opinion.
Ivermectin can be a very effective medication for parasitic disease, and as you say, it's probably I think what 250 million people have taken it around the world.
More,
I get that,
way more.
So
way more. Billions of people have taken it.
The
can I just come
world
back
has
to the one
taken
I want to talk
bro.
about? Two things on the ledger.
Bro.
Before we get to that,
he's not saying that. He's just saying it's safe to take it, whether it works or not. He's saying whether it's effective for COVID or not, it's safe to take it. So why not just take it and take the chance? Either way, it's just going to pass right through you and nothing's going to happen. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, he took it with other stuff because he didn't even trust that ivermectin was going to work. He was just saying, this is just one of the things I'm going to take. I'm going to take a whole bunch of the stuff that my doctor's recommending that it's safe to take all at the same time. And I'm going to take those all and hopefully one of these works. And that's what happened. Maybe it did, or maybe he just recovered quick because he's healthy. Either way,
bother you that the news network you work for
the worst part about this is that the entire right-wing conservative sphere is going to love this. They probably already do. I can see 1,000 Fox News
this is why
Breitbart,
Cristobal says that you should capitalize on Joe Rogan on the
Saagar
left.
is going to be on this side of it being
where you can cut out stuff from this where he's saying I think
CNN
a lot of people should take the vaccine.
Accountable for their lives, their numerous
like
lives.
that,
That's the takeaway, the important takeaway from all of this.
But they're not. They're an
outright lie about me taking horse dewormer.
They shouldn't have said that.
Why did they do that?
I don't know.
You didn't ask? You didn't think there was you're the medical guy over there.
I didn't ask. I should have asked before
but they
coming
did
on
it
your
with
podcast.
such glee.
No,
yes,
Joe.
they did. I watched.
No, that's Joe.
I watched.
You watched. No, I don't think there's
yes,
glee.
They did.
I don't. No one takes.
Joe Rogan says he has COVID.
But you know what it is?
Livestock.
It kind of does seem that way if you think about it, because what it is CNN has multiple shows, right? They're like in certain hour blocks, 2 hour blocks. So things get repeated with different hosts, and you hear it so many people talking about it and so many different kinds of shows that it seems like, yeah, they're just happy to like, oh my god, this happened, let's all talk about it. Yeah, you know, that's it seems that way.
Despite
but it really is just like all these shows.
Jamie had to pull this up.
You want to play it?
Does she
This
have
is your
police?
news network.
I'm gonna watch.
Let's see.
I'm gonna watch.
My Fox does the same thing where they have.
He then goes on to play Aaron Burnett, describing it as, I think she says, veterinary medication. He also references Brian Stelter, who had said, when you have a horse deworming medication that's discouraged by the government, that actually causes some people in this crazy environment we're in to actually want to try it, that's the upside down world we're in with figures like Joe Rogan. So,
but Joe Rogan didn't say
That's
that's something to watch.
That was, look, you're never going to see that. You're just never going to see it.
Well, and again, I want to give both of these men credit for engaging and
almost verbatim what I predicted there.
you should really listen to the whole conversation because it is actually fascinating. They
What
go through
did he claim to predict that, Matt?
I think
I don't
he
remember him
predicted
saying
what
anything.
her response was going to be to this.
Oh, okay, that she was gonna side with both of them or something. Well, I mean, she's made videos that she's been on Joe Rogan and she likes Joe Rogan.
Studies on
She knows Joe Rogan's more
ivermectin.
left
They
than
talk
right.
about myocarditis and the incidents among young boys. I mean, they really go through it all, and it is extraordinarily important and I think good to listen to. And
What is going on right now? Oh no! Is Crystal joining the ivermectin crowd?
No, she's
so
just saying
little
it's good
of
to
that
talk
dialogue has
about
happened
stuff.
in American
Dialogue
discourse.
she's talking about.
But to this moment,
So,
right?
this is what proves the point that Joe and Jimmy Dore talked about. You can't talk about this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Just saying that it's good to have the conversation is making Lance say, is Crystal Ball an ivermectin advocate? Like, no, she's saying that you should have the conversation. That's all she's saying.
Just like Joe.
That's
saying.
and that's exactly what Jimmy Dore was saying, that the second he talked about the problems he had with the vaccine, that all of a sudden he's anti-vax. You know, I think Vaush did a video on it. I don't remember if we went over that one.
No one's saying
But
take
the same thing.
animal version of ivermectin.
Yeah, no one
Joe
said
was
that.
even like, I
Joe
can
said
afford
that.
medication from my doctor.
Yeah,
guy. Like, what the
Joe
fuck
never
are you
said
talking
that. He specifically said he got it from his doctor.
Right here. You see Joe's like
human
fighter
version.
instinct.
It literally says
Gupta
human.
is on the ropes,
Yeah,
and
he's
he
just
is
gonna
not. He's not gonna let him out.
Yeah, he had to tap. He had to tap.
He tries to change the subject.
So it's exactly as I predicted. Everyone's just like,
But that's exactly
beside
what
themselves,
happens.
overjoyed that Joe's getting like this knock.
Well, they're laughing at it. It is funny because you can see, and Sanjay wants to say stuff, but he can't. You know, that's his job. You know, he can't sell his job out. So he's kind of agreeing in a sideways kind of way. You know, like because also he is a doctor and he has credibility, so you can't go against his credibility. It's a weird position he's put in where he's like in the middle. And they're kind of laughing about it. They're not really overjoyed that he's losing or something, you know, or that Joe Rogan's winning. They're just laughing at the situation.
Go
'cause it's a
punch
funny
on
situation.
CNN. Okay, let's just do the thing. CNN is trash. CNN is trash. Don't watch CNN. They clearly have an agenda.
Yeah, okay, but if he has a doctor from CNN come on, why can't he say, "Hey, you guys lied about me recently"?
Yeah.
Like,
Doctor
what's
from
the problem
CNN,
with
don't
that?
you know that these things that are being said aren't true? So why didn't? That's all that Joe Rogan's trying to catch this guy.
We get it. And he's like, yeah, this isn't a bust. We get it. CNN's trash. Okay, well, that's what Joe Rogan's saying. So you agree with Joe Rogan. Why not make a video say, I agree with Joe Rogan. CNN's trash.
It's mostly
They
corporate, like most corporate media.
So you agree with Joe Rogan.
Outside of telling everyone watch manufacturing or listen to the.
But look, here's another one. Joe Rogan is furious about being smeared, and then put smears in quotes. He literally was smeared. He's not even disagreeing that he was smeared in this video. But, and then furious in capital letters, like Vaush put wines, like, and he said he was so mad too. When we saw that, he's like, he's not mad. Like, what are you talking about? I mean, he's not even looking at it, watching the video version to see Joe's face, who looks stoned and half smiling the whole time he's talking.
Read the book.
But even in just
parent talking down to their kid, like, do you think that was a good idea?
But even just hearing him, he doesn't sound angry. He's talking in just a very normal tone. You know? And I hear him talk all
or
the time.
watch the documentary Manufacturing Consent. You'll learn quite in depth how this entire system works. And then we can all agree: ABC, MSNBC, CNN, Fox News, all of them trash.
I like how it says Tim Pool and Breaking Points come to the rescue. They're just laughing about it. They haven't really said anything to try to defend Joe. They actually say they get both sides. They're glad that the conversation happened, and then they're just laughing about it, like the situation.
Because
it's an awkward
somebody
situation.
like that to come to his side.
No, quite not. And it's so funny that he thinks that of this, right? Like that's weird because it's
Dumpster
not
fire,
that at all.
garbage. Not even hot. It's cold.
So
it's
weird.
disgusting. Do not feed it to your dogs, kind of shit. Okay. On top of which,
Oh,
Joe Rogan.
Blossom. What's up,
He's
Blossom?
beholden to no one.
You should play
His
games.
podcast is a podcast. He just gets to say whatever happens up here and say it out there. Okay. He's got the most popular podcast in the world, beyond the $100 million.
He just properly described Joe Rogan. He said Joe Rogan's like not an expert. He just says whatever's up here and it comes out of here. That's what Joe Rogan says he's doing.
If that was supposed to be insulting or something, that's not insulting to Joe
But that's what Joe
Rogan.
Rogan does. He accurately describes him, but still complains that people listen to him too much. But it's like, where's your evidence that people listen to him that much? There's plenty of disclaimers of him saying not to listen to him.
And if he knows that that's how Joe Rogan talks, why is he taking him about to take him so literal?
And then if they want to complain about the clips, the way he gets clipped, that's not his fault. He's not clipping them that way to make it sound like he's saying these things. If you want to argue about those and show the context, but what happens is these people are all lazy and they only watch the clips too. That's what he's doing right now. He's watching Breaking Point, listening to
and
to
that's
the-
all you need
to the
to
clips.
watch out of like 2 hours or 3 hours of a podcast.
Yeah, he didn't watch the whole thing to react to it, to know. Like I said, everybody I know who watched it, they watched the whole thing, said it was a good conversation and went back and forth. It wasn't, it doesn't seem the way they show in the clips where like Joe Rogan's like busting them. Like it's not literally like that, you know, the whole time. They're actually calm, having great conversation. That's just a part of it, you know. But yeah, they make it seem like it's something else. But these guys only watch the clips, and then, but he's literally saying what Joe Rogan says all the time.
I
so
cannot
funny.
fathom how many people he reaches on Spotify.
But that's what Krista Ball was saying about Joe Rogan. Like the right literally clips him and works them towards their favor. It was like the left could do that too with Joe, but instead all they do is react to the clips. You know what I'm saying? Instead of finding
on
the
a weekly
context.
basis. He has a
And fixing
responsibility
those points,
with a
right?
platform that powerful because, you know, back in the day, some of the reasons that, you know, things like in Canada, the CRTC existed, right, weren't just for the censorship of things that they found to be uncouth, like, oh, pornography. Oh, no, they might say the word pregnant on the air. I think that kind of censorship is ridiculous.
I don't think there was ever any censorship for the word pregnant.
When was there censorship
Ever.
for the word pregnant?
Yeah, I don't think that was ever censored. Like, I don't know what he's talking about.
Ridiculous, all right? Let people say what they want to say. If people are using their platform to spread
That was a
gross
weird
medical
one.
misinformation that can result in thousands, if not millions of
Yeah,
people,
put
tens
Chris
of
on
thousands
camera,
of people at
she's
least
pretty
potentially getting sick, then yes, there
Soon
should
enough,
be
soon
something
enough.
that regulates that says, or even at the very least, there should be a disclaimer. Joe Rogan is not a doctor.
I got Lance on the screen because he's pretty.
Ivermectin is not approved by the FDA. The vaccine is a highly...
Yeah, but Joe Rogan isn't saying that ivermectin is approved by the FDA for COVID-19. He's not saying that, right? So he keeps bringing that up as if Joe said that at some point, but he didn't.
effective way of preventing the spread of COVID-19 in the populace and has been proven to be safe and is approved by the FDA. Something to that effect. Like, this is not simping for Big Pharma. I fucking despise Big Pharma. Now, I've done segments on how shitty Big Pharma is. This is about not spreading medical misinformation to a
But
whole...
he didn't spread any medical misinformation is the problem. He gave his opinions on stuff, but he didn't say this is literally this and that is that. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the point, is that he just described what Joe Rogan is, but now he's attributing a higher level of, you know, ethics to Joe Rogan that he doesn't need to have. He's not the news, you know, like he's literally just a guy.
Authority figure for anything about the vaccine or medication.
I mean, if he didn't have a studio, he'd literally just be a guy in his basement, like recording audio, you know, and talking to people. Like, that's what Joe Rogan is. That's how it started. He started a podcast where he just wanted to interview people and talk to people. not to spread information, advocate for anything. He's not an activist. He's not an advocate. You know, that's the problem. This is where I put, there's a lot of projection that comes out of these people, and these people are advocates. So whenever you see anybody have talk on TV, on podcasts, on a show, they think those people are all just like them, advocates. Why else would they be talking about this stuff unless they were advocates like me, you know? Yeah. But, you know, some people just find the conversations interesting and want to have the conversations, regardless of how stupid it is. Or, I mean, I've heard Joe Rogan have some stupid conversations, you know, like fucking 2 hours talking to Eddie Bravo about the space doesn't exist and the moon is fake and shit. Useless, completely useless conversations to have. 2 hours long. You know what I'm saying? But he's done that, you know, and then you want to take it that, you know, people listen to him. This dude had a 2-hour conversation talking to Neil deGrasse Tyson about the moon landing being fake. And Neil deGrasse Tyson, 2 hours of him having to explain to Joe that it's not fake. You know, it's real. All these things are real. Let me explain it to you how the science works of this. You know, it took 2 hours for Joe to finally be like, wow, the moon landing's real, actually, you know, and he was amazed by it at the moment. Like, whoa, you mean it's real? Like, oh my God. He thought Bigfoot was real. Like, how are you taking this guy as this serious? I think everybody knows that he's not that serious of a person. You know,
a whole bunch of people
to be taking
who could potentially
as an authority on it.
The regular everyday person doesn't have access to a doctor that will give them ivermectin.
He's saying it again.
That's why they're seeking out the horse paste.
Does he have proof for that? I actually think that these are, like I said before, redneck southern like ranch people who live in farmland already have that stuff for their horses, or can go to a veterinary farm store that has that stuff for horses over the counter. But I don't think these are, but even still, these are people who can't afford doctors, so they go and buy. That's ridiculous. Really that doesn't make any sense. I bet if I can't afford painkillers from my doctor, I'm not gonna go to a veterinarian and get horse tranquilizers. You know, like that doesn't work that way.
Just sound like it would cost more.
Yeah,
that's all I'm.
That seems more expensive. Yeah, more
expensive. Like anybody that's had a pet and you've taken them to the vet, like that's a big bill that you're.
Dude, you're so right, and why the horse version is hurting people is because it's stronger, because horses are way bigger than humans. They have bigger stomachs than us. They get worms and bigger intestines and shit like that to go through. So it's a more potent version, which means it's probably more expensive than it would be to get from your doctor.
It's the story that CNN.
But he's just making that up. Like, where does he get that people can't afford a doctor and that's why they're getting the horse paste version? Where is he getting that idea? Like, I want to know if he got that from an article or if because he does this, right? We've known with the indigenous stuff that he'll read stuff and then put things into it, like read it in the most worst way possible and add all these things into it. So he probably read this and added that himself, that, oh, there's people that can't afford a doctor. Like, I don't believe that that's what he read in a news thing.
Have said if they were actually like a credible news agency. Okay, that's what everyone should have been saying. That at the end of the day, people just don't have these multi-millionaire celebrity doctors who can just be like, yeah, I got scripts. You want scripts? Here's your fucking scripts. Take all the scripts.
That's not what he did. First off. And you can go to your regular doctor and get ivermectin. It's a deworming anti-parasite day. If you have a parasite and you go to your doctor, he prescribes you that. Yeah. Your regular doctor. You don't need to be a rich doctor. Yeah.
All the ivermectin you want.
And nor did Joe ever say go to your doctor and demand he give you ivermectin. Never said that, by the way. And he's making it literally making it sound like Joe saying everyone should go to their doctor and ask for ivermectin for the COVID. Like, what?
And hydroxychloroquine. Take it all.
Oh,
and now he's adding hydroxychloroquine.
Oh, hey, Jeff Waldorf. Everyone, go subscribe to Jeff Waldorf's channel. Jeff_Waldorf. You'll find him.
Does not recommend that what he did, everyone else do. He spoke to his doctor and said he wanted to kind of be a guinea pig for these medicines to try them out. Like, he's not suggesting other people do it, and he's not even claiming that he knows for sure that they worked. You know,
I'm on the YouTubes as well. He's on the YouTubes and the Twitch.
This is going so fast. Let me talk. He's like, no. Why did they say it's? Right. Why did they lie and say it's horse dewormer? And he makes this really important point.
For ratings and for money.
What? He thinks Joe Rogan does anything for ratings and money? First off, Joe Rogan's already paid. Right?
Yeah.
They paid, Spotify paid him.
Did he forget what platform Joe Rogan's
Yeah.
on?
I don't think Joe Rogan gets paid for each podcast.
No.
He got paid already.
Yeah.
They paid him, what, 90 million for like 3 years of
Something like that.
podcasts?
Yeah.
So he's already paid for those. Every one he puts out, if more people watch it, he doesn't get paid anymore. He's paid a flat $90 million.
I think he's set. I think he's
he's
doing
set.
fine.
Yeah, and then on top of that, he works for the UFC. He's got all these other. I'm sure he has other businesses that we don't even know about where he sells things to, or is a co-owner of some sort of business, a gym, and, a martial arts place. We don't know, but but Joe Rogan's set. He doesn't need more views or more money.
Yeah.
He doesn't need that.
He just did a
It's
special on
like,
Netflix. I'm sure he got a nice check for that too.
He does,
I think he's doing just fine.
Which is his real job. This podcast stuff is, like I said, like going in his basement and talking. Like his real job is doing stand-up comedy and touring. He just did a tour, right? Like,
Sorry, there's not a massive conspiracy theory going. It's ratings and money.
That's where he cares about getting
that's
more
the
views.
reason
is in
why.
his comedy stand-up.
It's the
stuff,
same reason Fox has been
that's his
pushing
job that he wants
vaccine
popularity.
lies and hysteria. For
His
so much.
podcast is just
it's
him
fucking
talking.
ratings
People
gold
watch it more or
in
less.
this day and
Doesn't
age.
matter.
People are scared. And yes, if someone's on the TV every now and then being like, well, someone randomly died from the vaccine, can we not ask the important questions? Can we not ask?
Really, all this does is just expose, just like Vaush exposes what Lance's gimmick is basically, in all this, which is just make up shit, throw somebody's name on the title there, and you're gonna get clickbait from it. So.
Well, but also, he's literally justifying this. He's saying you should lie about Joe Rogan because of this, and saying that because, if you see somebody on the television telling you day after day that, somebody died from this and the vaccine hurt this person, and it's like, and then saying, oh, we can't talk about it. You're literally saying they can't talk about it because you're saying you should lie and quiet them off. You know what I'm saying? Like, because you're saying that causes damage. So you agree with them. You can't talk about it.
And then, just like we've seen with what's happened to Lance, like time and time again, he's going to go too far. A video is going to get taken down. He's going to get a suspension, and all of a sudden, it's going to be he's been banned from YouTube.
Yeah.
When he's going to get everything reinstated,
Oh
he's
my
just
God.
gonna. It's just because he spoke out of his ass.
Dude, he's like detached from reality, right? He always views things that happen as something else, and it doesn't make any sense.
What
He just makes
potential
it up.
life-saving properties lie in horse and goat paste? If I do say that,
But he didn't say that. He's doing it again. After saying that wasn't it, now he's doing it again.
And at another point, because this went on.
Canceled for speaking his mind and asking questions and asking why you can't talk about something, which is literally what you're saying. Cancel him because he's talking about something and asking questions. You're proving his point. 100%.
Quite a while. It was like 10 minutes.
And recurring.
And you can't talk about the truth. That's what they're saying. This is true. Why can't I talk about it? But you can't because he's telling you we should cancel this person.
Came up a couple times throughout the podcast. Because,
and it's okay for CNN to lie about them.
Not because Joe cares about his own ego or
and
whatever.
if you call out CNN for lying about him, then you're on his side. You're promoting ivermectin.
It's
crazy.
really important that people feel like a news network is being straight with them, and so he draws the connection of, okay, well, if they're going to lie about this thing, which is easily checkable and obviously
but you
untrue,
said CNN's trash, though.
What else are they lying about?
You're not disagreeing.
So that's Breaking Point's take on this.
Right, which you agree with. Right? Which he agrees with. You said CNN is trash.
Including Don Lemon and Jim Acosta.
Which their point was, look, if they're going to lie about this, they'll lie about
COVID treatment. Last month, Rogan announced he tested positive for the virus and had been prescribed several drugs to fight it, including ivermectin. Now that drug is FDA approved for use in humans for certain infectious diseases, and the formula for animal use is much
for fucking worms. I mean, be honest.
For
more
parasites,
concentrated. But that's not what Rogan was
worms,
taking. But CNN didn't care and lied about it and said Rogan was taking horse pills. On Wednesday, he called them out.
They're lying at your network about people taking human drugs versus drugs from veterinary.
Calling it a horse dewormer is not a flattering thing. I get that.
It's a lie. It's a lie on a news network. You're talking.
Well, no, it is a horse dewormer, but it is a lie to say
Not
that you
the
took the one
animal.
intended for horses. You took the one intended for humans.
I mean, it's a human dewormer
Why did
too,
they do
though.
that?
Why
I don't
would you
know.
call it a horse
You did-
dewormer?
His
But
own
when he
push
did
back
that,
and
doesn't
push
do
back
that.
hard.
Once you hit,
Then why wouldn't you call it? Why wouldn't you like? This is what I was saying. Why wouldn't they just say dewormer? They should have just said that. They didn't have to put horse in there. But the fact that they put horse in there is the part that Joe Rogan's saying is deceptive. You know, is a lie. It's a smear.
Look at this guy sitting down over here.
And he
It's
doesn't disagree, which
crazy.
is nuts. He doesn't disagree, but he's saying he does. But he's acting as if he
love
does,
the
but he
ending.
doesn't.
That's so funny. I love it.
Oh yeah, gut feel.
Joe Rogan,
funny,
roast
but
CNN.
He's funnier
Oh,
than
of course, Tim Pool's
Lance.
all over
Even.
this
Like,
one.
Lance
I
is
knew
not
everyone
funny
would
at all.
be, one after the other.
Like Gutfield
you know?
is corny.
We have
as
two
shit.
big stories
So
right
bad.
now. We have Steven Crowder getting a hard strike and a suspension, as well as Joe Rogan taking on Sanjay Gupta of CNN and calling him out for CNN's lies. I definitely want to go over Sanjay Gupta's essay he wrote about why he did it, because, of course, they don't accept accountability for being liars. In fact, Sanjay Gupta, after talking with Joe Rogan about how CNN lied, goes on with the host who lied, Aaron Burnett. But the big story to get started, and these are related stories in my opinion, and I'll explain why. Steven Crowder, Louder with Crowder, has received a hard strike over a show they did. YouTube has claimed that they were harassing the transgender
What is a
community
hard
by
strike?
doing it.
Hard
And the
strike.
concern
What
here
does a hard
is
strike
that
mean?
there
Yeah,
is a
What is
related
strike?
story.
Yeah, how
to-
is a hard strike different
What
from
is
a
the
regular
difference?
strike? There's a difference. Maybe it lasts longer, or is it permanent?
Oh, maybe it's like
Usually
we're
they
not
last 3
lifting
months.
this at
Yeah.
all.
Like I had a strike, it's gone now.
Yeah.
But it lasts 3 months. Yeah.
To what Steven Crowder had done that happened in Loudoun County with a student who was assaulted in a bathroom, and it's led to a major scandal. Now, I wanted to make sure you guys knew what was going on with Crowder's suspension, mostly because I know you guys may be wondering why he's not on YouTube right now. This is, once again, YouTube, I think, is getting...
Mr. Crowder uploaded another video that YouTube has determined. The video was titled "Special Guest Alex Jones, Great Reset, and Joe Rogan Triggers Leftists Again." I'm sure Alex Jones was probably part of that.
dangerously close. They want to remove Crowder based on the show he did.
I didn't know about this. We write again on YouTube's behalf regarding your client, Steven Crowder. YouTube has repeatedly instructed Mr. Crowder regarding his hate speech policy and warned him against continuing violations of that policy through the content he uploaded to YouTube. YouTube specifically informed Mr. Crowder that his video he uploaded showed a pattern of reckless targeting of the LGBTQ+ community for abuse and insults. It warned that further uploading of content that targets, insults, and or abuses the LGBTQ+ community would result in additional penalties. On September 30th, Mr. Crowder uploaded another video that YouTube has determined continues his prior conduct. The video entitled "Special Guest Alex Jones on the Great Reset and Joe Rogan Triggers Leftists Again" contains a segment that targets the transgender community in an offensive manner, for example, by indicating that trans people pose a rape threat to women.
I don't.
Do it faster,
really
Lance.
doubt that. Yeah, I really doubt that. I would love to see proof of that. Because I really doubt that. I think they do this a lot where the conservative argument isn't that a trans person's going to rape someone in the bathroom.
Yeah.
It's that someone's going to pretend to be trans
And-
to get
and
into
do
the
that.
women's
Yeah.
bathroom
Yeah.
and then do something. They're not saying that trans people are the rapists. They're
No.
saying that there's people out there who
Shady
are
people,
evil.
perverts out there that are doing
Yeah,
this,
exactly.
that
And
could
will do
possibly be doing this. Yeah.
and will do very deceptive things in order to put themselves in positions to do nasty things. Yeah.
Wild. YouTube. Finally. Holy shit. Like, we watched that sketch here on the show, and when I first saw it live, I was like, I cannot believe that YouTube can claim to have policies against hate speech and allow that sketch to continue. And I guess that
But
sketch was their
wasn't the
breaking
sketch-
point, and it was a horrifying,
I wish we could
horrible
see that sketch.
I
If
think
you
I
didn't
know
see
what
it,
the
Alex
sketch
Jones
is,
basically played.
and it's Crowder dressing up as a woman and then going into like a washroom or something, a change room, a clothing store or something like that. And wasn't the point to be like nobody's questioning any like if they think somebody's like a
And the
pervert
point
or
is,
weird.
and the point of that was that Crowder is trans.
Yeah, exactly.
He's a
Exactly.
man.
He's a man.
And a
pretending to
man
be
who
a woman.
identifies as a man,
Yeah.
dressing up like a woman and entering the woman's
Doesn't
bathroom,
mean
and
that's
no one's
how
questioning it.
everybody that is
Because
a
he dressed
trans
up like a
person
woman.
is conducting themselves. It's just,
Yeah.
a guy is pretending to be a woman. Doesn't
Yeah.
think that he is a woman. He's
It's funny.
pretending
He's
to be a
literally
woman.
saying it's the straight men to worry about that are dressing up as women and going into one's bathroom,
Yeah.
not the trans women.
Is like an angel or God or something, and they're in a prison, and then there's a woman who just went to a female prison, and then there's another prisoner beside her who's one of Steven Crowder's like co-hosts or whatever, and he's got some makeup on, and then he's like, I'm a girl, and then it's like Joe, and then Alex Jones is like, and now he's going to rape you. Like, I was just like, this is one of the most blatantly transphobic sketches I have ever seen on.
Yeah, but I feel like that sketch is really saying that a non-trans person is pretending to be trans and now in prison too, and now they're raping women in there, but they're really a man who identifies as a man pretending to be a trans woman so that they can be in that prison and do that stuff. But it's weird that they don't see that. I don't know. I haven't seen the sketch. I don't know if that's what it is, but I'm pretty sure that's probably what it is, right? That would make more sense.
Like in general, to be honest,
people were really angry about it. But I remember watching. He did that more than once. He did that character. I can't remember the name of the character.
But on YouTube nonetheless. And so they finally took a stance, but I guess that stance was a 1 week. A 1 week penalty. Fucking, I've had my entire channel taken down for fucking false flags, for like clearly
they weren't false
fraudulent
flags.
accusations that we were doing scams and malpractices or whatever. And then yes, upon further
no, it wasn't. But when you looked at what they were saying, scams and malpractices was in that. But one of those things was deceptive practices, which can happen from tags. If you have tags for your videos, which if you're a kind of person who just copies and pastes for each one, sometimes you might have one that doesn't match what your video is, you know, and it's a deceptive practice. On top of that, he uses a lot of clickbaity titles, which could be deceptive as well.
And Lance, all you had to do was make a couple tweets and that thing would have been put back up. Like, doesn't that happen a lot of the time for some people, that you've put something up and the algorithm just says, like, throws it back at you and you need to just, like, tweak a few things. But he wouldn't want to do that. He leaves it up and then it gets striked down constantly or something.
That's like Sean. Sean does. He puts up his videos for review before he even premieres them.
Yeah.
So when it comes back, he knows what's, you know, whatever they mark on that, he knows to change that, or he'll just put it in again and hope somebody else sees it and they'll accept it. But either way, like, this guy's complaining, but you know, YouTube's telling him, and he kept getting it for the same thing.
Investigation, YouTube was like, oh yes, no, that was false.
Reinstated.
And then he gets everything reinstated because he had a bunch of people complain about it.
We apologized. Yes, it shan't happen again. Happens to the other channel. Exact same thing. Channel just disappears, gone, deletes. Fucking really goes to show you what happens when you have a lot of subs. What definitely wouldn't have helped Crowder's case is that Alex Jones, who's banned on YouTube, is part of also.
It's funny because Sean's channel does pretty good, and he doesn't have that happen to him. There's some people that don't. I think the quartering does pretty well. There's a bunch of these channels that do well, you know, but it's channels like yours and then Crowder's and this and that. Like, what do you think what it might be? It might be maybe that you guys are a bit extreme and maybe say extreme things.
So Jeremy, figure out how to be
more if other channels can figure out to not get struck down and do like similar content, you know, why can't he do it?
Plus the other thing, how is Steven Crowder appearing on everyone's shows right now? Like, he's doing this huge tour between, like, the Geeks and Gamers, that panel that the Quarterine was on. He popped up on that other conservative. He was on Tim Pool's show, and then Tim Pool was on his show. Then he was on Steven Crowder's show multiple times.
Special guest Alex Jones, Joe Rogan triggers leftists again. Many people have said
you could do that too.
They didn't find it to be outwardly egregious.
Yes,
he was talking
totally
about very specific news stories, but YouTube says talking about instances.
What? Public Enemy? The actual account? Rest in power, Colin Powell? While we may not have agreed with him on many things, a strong man lost his battle today. Our condolences and prayers.
Good.
Yeah. Damn.
Good on that. They took the high road. What's wrong with the high road?
That's a big old wah-wah.
Why?
Where particularly,
you see how, like, having morals and being an ethical person and, like, taking the high road in situations is now seen bad?
Now is the time to dance on that person's grave.
They literally said they didn't agree on many things, but he's I guess they're going from the black man angle. We're saying that he was a powerful black man who reached a powerful position, and respect that, at least, you know. So rest in peace and respect that aspect of you, you know.
Later on.
And taking the high road, not being total assholes about it, even though they disagreed with him. And this guy's like, how dare you.
Particular protected groups.
Yeah, sorry, I mean Jones. Alex Jones, not Crowder.
Groups are implicated in crimes is against the rules. So this is serious stuff. But what I wanted to point out first is you can always go to louderwithcrowder.com. You can go.
Oh yeah, great.
Joe Rogan. They claim
your
Joe Rogan's
friends.
so popular as a right wing.
Why not? You do
But
that.
I also think that trying to do right
Lance
do
does that.
comedy
He
bits
promotes
the
his
same
friends.
as Dave Chappelle or any other comedian would do that YouTube is fine with.
Yes, they do. They all do. Guess what? Dave Chappelle wasn't canceled. He wasn't. He's been saying he was canceled since the second Netflix special. And he keeps making.
I think that's what people
What?
are expecting from Dave Chappelle to be canceled.
But when has Dave Chappelle said he was canceled?
Yeah,
I
he
think.
left on his own terms, didn't he?
When is Joe? What? When did he claim that? He said he's been saying that since the second special, but I don't think he's ever said he was canceled. I think he said
if
people
anything-
tried to cancel him,
yeah.
but I don't think he ever said he was canceled.
Yeah, I think
Which people have tried.
Dave Chappelle makes jokes. I feel like he made a joke comment about that.
Yeah, maybe.
He's
Yeah,
like,
but
"Well, I wasn't canceled then."
apparently I was canceled. I think he does say that. I think that's how he starts the one of them. But he's making a joke. Yeah, you're right. And he's not getting. He's been saying he was canceled. No, but people are trying. But he's actually talking as if he's like he wasn't canceled. He was not canceled because he's popular enough not to be. But that doesn't mean there aren't people who are running campaigns to have him canceled. You know, there's entire walkouts going on right now at Netflix. You know,
About the
and
discrimination.
1,000 people protests going on right now outside Netflix. Is that not a canceling campaign where they're saying we're not going back to work until you cancel Dave Chappelle?
For his discrimination.
You take care of Dave Chappelle's not being canceled. He's been saying that since the second special. Yeah, that's how long they've been trying to cancel. And he's so popular, makes so much money, it's not working.
Them, and he keeps getting tens of $millions to make them, and then millions and millions of people watch them. It's still in the top 10 of Netflix. Where is the cancellation? I don't.
And in fact, well, no, but this is do they not understand how this works? So it's like people keep shooting at you, but you're still alive. You know what I'm saying? So what's the
They don't
problem?
want you dead. They don't want to kill you.
Yeah.
Bullets are zipping past your head.
Yeah. People are trying to murder me, but you're not murdered, so. Like, what?
I don't get it. When does that part start? Because it seems like when you
What do you mean? It started at his second special when you said that he's been talking about it since then. That's when it started.
Yeah.
It just still has not been successful.
out about it, or you try to like get into meetings to like talk about these issues as those like two
It
trans
seems
employees.
more like he's mad that it hasn't succeeded.
Yeah.
You see how he's getting worked up about, oh, where's the cancellation? Why are you guys saying that he's being canceled? Where's the cancellation? And it's like, that's what you want. Instead, he's making tens of millions of dollars. Yeah, because he's that popular
Dave
and you
Chappelle
can't cancel.
said J.K. Rowling didn't do anything wrong, and it was like, cancel that man. He went too far.
Same thing happened with J.K. Rowling, which is why she brought it up. Like, but J.K. Rowling is too popular, and Harry Potter series is too
This is
popular.
the whole
to
reason
think.
why he's starting to be called out as being or wanting to be canceled, because he took the J.K. Rowling side.
Yeah,
and
that's
they
what it
don't
is.
like her.
Mhm. Another person they tried to cancel really hard, and
These
still
did.
Harry
And yes,
Potter
they
still
went into
makes
a meeting in
tons
which
of
they
money.
weren't supposed to be in, and then one of them shared information she wasn't supposed to share. I would honestly say that she should go out and say that she's a whistleblower at this point. I would do a full whistleblower status on this thing. But it looks like they get canceled. Looks like they get canceled, no problem. Kind of looks like it's just like, boom, job, gone. Yeah. But no, Dave Chappelle, totally fine. You know?
Who got canceled?
Is he talking about the Netflix people?
Hold on, I miss.
Start because it seems like when you speak out about it or you try to like get into meetings to like talk about these issues as those like two
The person who got fired. I don't think it happened just like that. They did something extreme that got them fired, like throw something or attack someone or
jump up on a table.
Mhm. I'm sure they didn't just fire her
Threatening,
because she asked
possibly.
questions. Yeah.
trans employees did, and yes, they went into a meeting in which they weren't supposed to be in, and then one of them
They barged into a
demand
meeting they weren't
this
supposed to
met
be in
now.
and demanded stuff.
You're gonna get thrown on your ass. Like, what do you? Who the
And
hell
you
are
don't expect to be fired? Like, huh? Is that not a fireable offense? If your boss tells you you're not allowed in the office, we're having a meeting of the bosses, and you barge in, that's a fireable offense. Why is that not fireable? I don't understand.
shared
that.
information she wasn't
You
supposed to
can't
share.
just be
I would
aggressive.
honestly
And
say
shared information she was supposed to share. She broke NDA.
Yeah.
She broke NDA.
Broke NDA.
In fact, not only is she getting fired, she's probably going to get sued too because she broke NDA. She's probably going to get sued for breach of contract.
that she should go out and say that she's a whistleblower at this point. I would do a full whistleblower status on this thing, but it looks like they get canceled. Looks like they get canceled, no problem. Kind of looks like it's just like
they're not canceled. They were not a celebrity. They got fired from their job for a fireable offense and could possibly get sued now for a suable offense.
Certain policies
that's
that you
different
have to
from being
follow
canceled.
when you're in a company like that. You go against it. Yeah, I'm sure repercussions are going to be met with, like...
It's funny if this was reversed and Dave Chappelle barged into the office of the Netflix bosses and they decided to fire him and say, you broke contract, you're not making any more specials for us. He would not complain about that at all. He would be like, oh yeah, he shouldn't have, like he wouldn't even be making a video about it, like
he's supporting him.
Or in fact, he'd probably be he'd probably against Dave Chappelle because it was about this, and he would be like, well, good, he should be fired. He's making anti-trans, content, blah blah, and then he's gonna barge in their office while they're having a private meeting. He doesn't belong there. That's get rid of him.
Job gone. Yeah, but no, Dave Chappelle. Totally fine,
But Dave Chappelle did nothing wrong. This is the problem here, and that's the biggest problem here, is that Dave Chappelle did nothing wrong, and they're complaining as if he did, and that he broke some sort of contract or he did something that deserves him being taken off the air. But what is that? Because he didn't speak about trans people the way they would have liked? Is that what it is? Because he didn't really, if you watch the whole special, we watched more. I hadn't even watched the whole thing, but the parts that we watched more of, they seem to be talking positively about trans people too. So it's like,
I think that he's transphobic and stuff. Like, we listened to, like you mentioned earlier, we listened to that segment of him talking about like a really good friendship he had with a trans woman, and he's like cared about that relationship, that friendship he had so badly. He's made a trust fund for this trans woman's daughter. And he really hates trans people that much. Like, he's going out of his way that much to put money aside for somebody's kid that's not even his. Like, give me a fucking break.
He tried to help that person be a stand-up comedian and everything. Like, it's just
bullshit.
Like I said, Lance most likely didn't watch that special either, and he just saw that little clip that TYT's showing, basically.
Complaining about Dave Chappelle picketing out there watched that probably, or
and that's all they care about. This is what I'm saying, where they watch clips of clips, like they don't even know what's going on, and then they blame the person in the clip for the clip that's out of context. You know what I'm saying? Oh, Dave Chappelle, he's a transphobe. You watched an out of context clip. You have no idea what the whole thing was about. Like, how about watch it first and then maybe have an opinion on what he's saying?
I don't understand. Where does that start?
Check this out.
Everyone should be so lucky to be canceled.
I really got to show you what Gupta said. It is laughably insane. Gupta actually wrote on CNN that he feared Joe Rogan would attack him. I'm not kidding. These people are nuts.
Where did you see that?
From louderwithcrowder.com. Anti-vax misinformation making horse medicine taking.
Where did he get that from?
Your source is louderwithcrowder.com. I used to make fun of Tim Pool for using Andy Knows as a source. This is way worse. This is so much worse.
CNN. Joe wrote like a source or whatever they got from Crowder, because when Tim went on Crowder's show, Crowder gave him some big ass rifle or something, so he probably looks at him as like an actual source now for real.
Weird.
Sat down with CNN's medical dude, Sanjay Gupta. It was a 3-hour conversation about the Fauci ouchie and people being hesitant towards it. This is excellent writing, by the way, from Brodegan.
Is that excellent writing?
Hop on Twitter and you can find tons of clips of Gupta, the medical expert, being rendered speechless by simple questions.
I can't tell if he's joking or if he's honestly just biting satire, witty at that. Oh, indeed. Spinach Monster.
Monster gave Jack Sinder a tier 1 subscription.
It seems like humor than like a 14.
Hit new TV show Squid Game. Oh, I got this. This is going to be for the fun half. If we don't get to it today, we'll get to it tomorrow, because I got a whole bunch of people's really like nuclear level takes on the Squid Game. Each one more ridiculous than the last. It always happens. There's like a piece of popular mainstream culture that everyone loves because it's good. It's just good. It's entertaining. It's well written. It's well acted. The Squid Game is engaging. I mean, there are a lot of faults with it. I think the Squid hysteria, by the way, is out of control. I'm going to say that much. Like, Squid Game fans, stop screaming the word Squid Game everywhere you go, including online, because you're going to ruin it for everybody. People who enjoy the Squid Game, like myself, are already sick of the fact that there's like 10,000 Squid videos every every single day popping up all over the place. Like, I've got a brand new
But I
Squid
just
Game
scroll
theory
by
for
it.
you.
I don't
I've got a brand new Squid Game theory for you. Did you know the blue card and the yellow card?
But
and
the
red
fact that
card
everybody
and the
loves
green
it so
guy
much is
and the
making
yellow
me
guy
not wanna
and the
love
VIPs and the elites. Like, goddamn. Okay, you're doing the Rick and Morty thing. Rick and
But I'll
Morty's
take
funny.
it on
It's a good show. And Rick and Morty fans, they're insufferable.
Log has to be approved by Joe Biden and or the CDC first. Rogan calling Gupta out for CNN lies about Rogan is more interesting. Flashback. Rogan caught the Rona. His doctor prescribed him a medication that is prescribed to human beings. CNN reported over and over again that Rogan took horse dewormer, something that is prescribed to by veterinarians. Rogan doesn't go to a vet. He goes to a people doctor. Rogan put Gupta on blast with a simple question. Why is your alleged news network lying about me?
Kind of has to be said
And then
because
Gupta was
people
like,
like,
oh, no, we didn't. Here's the quote. Does it bother you that the news network you work for outright lied about me taking horse dewormer? Gupta says they shouldn't have said that. Why'd they say that? I don't know. You didn't ask. You're the medical guy there. That, absolutely. You're the medical guy there. Sanjay Gupta
No,
is
of course. And then but he's also hired to be a host. Yeah, he's a CNN host. He's not the CNN doctor. He's a medical expert who's hired by CNN to say the things they want him to say. Of course, I'm sure he has some moments where he could have his own opinion on things, but sometimes they bring him on to say what they want him to say. But in the end, he did say, I should have asked before I came here. And he didn't
medical guy at CNN.
But it's not like everything they put out, every news show, they go to him and go,
is this correct?
Yeah. Dr. Gupta, can you tell us if this is, can you go over my script and make sure everything's medically sound? Thanks.
Yeah.
Like, they don't do that. So for him to ask, that's not his job. They're like, you're the medical expert there. You didn't ask. That's not his job. Like, when he's come up on screen and they're asking him for his opinion, he probably gives his opinion.
And in Sanjay says he was probably talking from fact because he's thinking he knows that ivermectin is also prescribed to animals for the worms and stuff, and some people were taking the animal version of that.
Right.
So he's just going to speak on
exactly.
That's right. But
and Joe's not claiming that Sanjay Gupta said that he took horse dewormer.
Yeah.
He's saying they shouldn't have said that because he didn't say that. He did his job.
On with Erin Burnett. Did he call her out and say, hey, you lied about Joe Rogan? Take a look at this.
Is that really true?
We have this from The Rep, September 2nd.
I didn't see him.
CNN medical analyst Dr. Jonathan Reiner debunked Joe Rogan's crazy jumble of nonsense COVID treatments on Wednesday night.
I knew it. I absolutely knew it. I knew as soon as this happened and I saw the Twitter highlights that this was going to be something that Tim Pool and every single one of them were so excited to talk about. Like, oh, yes, finally.
Yeah, but Tim is stupid here, too. Weird. This doctor on CNN said Joe Rogan's medical treatment was completely wrong, yet somehow Joe got better and is now free of COVID. I mean, some people who get COVID don't even have symptoms. Sometimes they just have symptoms for a day. So, I mean, that might have, and even he says none of those might have worked. He says, my doctor thinks it might have been the one I said, the antibodies booster thing, But, like, for Tim Pool to say it's weird that Joe Rogan got better after taking that medicine, it's really not. Like, it's not weird at all.
And we caught you.
And like he said, he's a
you in
healthy
lie.
dude. He's
I was like,
yeah.
God
good fitness.
damn. Do you know the amount of lies you can call the mainstream
He can
media?
recover from
I mean, hell,
regularly
today's the day that
this.
Colin Powell just passed away. How about the way the mainstream media was reporting upon the war in Iraq, or the build up to the war in Iraq? How about all the manufacturing consent that went on then? Do you want to talk about that? Do you want to talk about all the times like the mainstream media has been decidedly like a branch of the military-industrial complex that pushes us further into conflicts that normal people wouldn't?
Yes, Tim Pool talks about that, though, right?
Yeah.
Isn't it weird they're pulling out all this stuff on people who talk about this all the time? Talk about Jimmy Dore and Tim Pool. They're like the two biggest conspiracy nuts on the internet, right?
Why do you need to shift over to like those people now when they're like talking about Rogan? Like, it's just...
Yeah, now he's bashing on Tim Pool. But he's bashing on Tim Pool. Why don't you talk about when the news does this and that? Tim Pool's constantly talking about how the media lies and it's part of the government and they... What the fuck?
Normal human beings wouldn't be like, this is a good idea. Let's go into the country that hasn't ever attacked us. Yes, go there now. That sounds like a good fuck.
I don't know what he's talking
about. It was prescribed to him by a doctor. You know, this is why
but the horse
I keep
paste.
telling people talk
that was the
to
breaking
a doctor.
point.
They're like, Tim, doctors are dumb. That's not an answer. That's not an excuse to not go to a doctor. Joe Rogan went to a doctor. He got a medical treatment. Do you disagree with Joe Rogan? I don't know. I don't think Joe Rogan. It's up to the doctor, not me. I'm not a doctor. Don't get medical advice from me. Take your questions to people who know better. And if you're really unhappy, go to Joe Rogan's doctor. If you like that, I mean, this is the crazy thing. Doctors are not a monolith, you know. Anyway, I said weird. This doctor on CNN said Joe Rogan's medical treatment was completely wrong. That somehow Joe got better and is now free of COVID. It's almost like CNN are a bunch of lying pieces
watching
of...
an idiot, though. Yeah. Crazy.
I don't know.
Oh yeah, they can't swear. I forgot about that. You can swear on Twitter. You won't lose any monetization, Tim, if you swear on Twitter. You don't need to block out every letter. You could let yourself have like an H as a tweet, as a treat. Like maybe S blank. Like would that feel kind of bad? You know, it would look like sit. So sit's not great, but you know, you'd have something. You feel like a bad boy for a day.
I know Joe got monoclonal antibodies, and I am under.
He does it because he wants to. Oh, that's even sadder. He does this because he knows. He's like, I know for a segment, I'm going to be putting up my own tweets and reading my own tweets live on air. I know that's going to happen, so I have to block it out.
You could do that. I think
that was actually.
Yeah, but if he is going to do that, what's the problem with that?
This is an EUA approved Regeneron treatment.
He does other
things
also have
to
this.
avoid
Stuff.
Yeah.
Look at the screenshot. There's old Erin Burnett lying her face off. Joe Rogan says he has COVID, taking livestock drug despite warnings.
Livestock
yes. Garbage. CNN's garbage. Garbage reporting.
So
Trash.
then what's the problem? So you're complaining about something that's not a problem.
Can you also report upon the fact that there was an increase in poisonings that came from regular people taking ivermectin because they don't have access to Joe Rogan's doctor or just doctors in a lot of cases, and because of that they were very scared.
But that's
their favorite
not what
podcaster was saying, "Hey, by the way, I don't know if you should take the vaccine if you're a healthy person. You know, depends. Jury's out."
And he's doing it again, trying to say that it's because Joe Rogan that people were taking horse dewormer when that was happening way before Joe Rogan took it.
On that, not FDA approved, you know, kind of scary. A couple people have died from AstraZeneca, blood clots, scary stuff. What do you think? Hey,
but how many people have died from people ivermectin prescribed to them by a doctor? How many people have died from that?
By the way, there's this drug. It hasn't been proven to be effective in treatment of COVID. It has been proven ineffective in treatment of parasites.
Right, and Joe Rogan is not
encouraging that.
Not that he's not encouraging, but he's not claiming that it has been
the cure for
approved for that. Yeah, he's not claiming any of that. He's saying it's. Lance is sitting here saying it's not as if Joe Rogan had said that it is.
And it's not FDA approved for the use in COVID in humans, but doctors, like my doctor, will prescribe it for me. So, hey, good luck out there to my hundreds of millions of listeners. Hopefully none of you take that advice and go buy horse paste. Hopefully,
but that advice isn't to take horse paste. That wasn't the advice. You see how he just made a crazy logical leap. He explained rightfully what Joe Rogan did. This isn't approved for this. This is that. And my doctor prescribed it for me, but it's not approved and all this stuff. And then he makes the logical leap of saying, I'm saying go take her horse dewormer. Like, where does that come from? Or horse paste, right? Where did that leap come from? He doesn't realize that there's a huge gap in between there.
For me. So, hey, good luck out there to my hundreds of millions of listeners. Hopefully none of you take that advice and go buy horse paste.
Yeah,
hopefully
that wasn't the advice. Yeah. But the advice isn't to go take horse paste.
Everyone did, like Lauren Chen, of course, extremely happy about this.
Overall risk goal, especially obviously a human doctor.
It's funny he's criticizing that all these right wingers are making all these videos on the same thing. All these lefties do the same thing too. You know, like look,
we just watched Vaush.
We just watched Vaush doing this, and now there's a Surfs doing this. I bet you. Actual Jake and all these other guys, lefty guys, are all doing the videos on this, on the right wingers celebrating that. You guys are all making videos on the video that everybody else is making on that one.
Big fake news, and actually Joe Rogan joked about suing CNN because he was just so upset about the blatant lie, as he has.
But we're not
every
complaining
right to be.
about
And
it.
even though Sanjay Gupta is not a person at CNN who used the term horse dewormer, I was glad to see that Joe Rogan did actually ask Sanjay about it when he was on the show.
Why would you say that when you're...
Man, they're all just so happy about this.
They're all just so happy about this, just like you guys are so happy when the opposite happens, right? Like if this was opposite and Sanjay Gupta dunked on Joe Rogan in this interview and said, you are taking horse dewormer and proved it or whatever, and I got you. And all of these guys would be making the same videos the right wingers are making, you know. But yet, you know, they're so happy about this. You would be so happy about this if it was the other way around. We've seen you be happy about this when it's something else that's for your guys' benefit. Like what they're doing basically is damage control right now. Like we look stupid for saying that Joe Rogan's taking horse dewormer. We've been saying it the whole time, and now we gotta do damage control and go, well, you see, it's because people are going out and taking horse paste, you know, and it's all Joe Rogan's fault.
Yeah.
This was the breaking point. Sanjay Gupta reversing his medical marijuana stance. Well, I mean, I think the story here is pretty simple. Sanjay Gupta sucks. CNN sucks. Joe Rogan sucks.
They all suck. So then what's the problem? So then what's your complaint? You know what I'm saying?
Have friends or family that are unvaccinated, please try to help them. Find out what is the reason that they're so hesitant. Hopefully it's not because of someone.
I like how he just responded to this. I don't know if he's going to go through this video and respond to that, but this is almost over. So not in this clip, but maybe in the stream he did. But I hope he's not just reacting and just saying, well, Sanjay Gupta sucks. It's like you didn't even listen to his reasoning before you said he's trash.
Rogan or one of the other intellectual dark weebs who've been trying to push this
Joe
idea.
Rogan's not an intellectual dark anything. Like, he's not an intellectual anything. Never claims to be intellectual.
Joe Rogan was in that picture with fucking whatever his name is, Jordan Peterson, does not mean he's part of that group.
But you know what's funny is that he himself said earlier that Joe Rogan's just, whatever's in his mind just comes out. He's literally saying that Joe Rogan's not an intellectual. He said earlier, this is how funny how these guys constantly contradict themselves within their own videos. He literally said earlier that Joe Rogan says he's not an expert in these things, but then now he's sitting here saying Joe Rogan's intellectual dark. You know, like what?
Yeah, that the vaccines are actually experimental and dangerous and all this kind of stuff. I mean, the only thing you really need to tell people is the simple cold fact that
he's saying it's dangerous, but to a degree, maybe a small degree. But he's saying you have to. We should be able to talk about this small degree of danger. You know?
People who are dying from COVID in the United States.
It's like saying like, if you eat this, you know, pudding or whatever, you know, the sugar will give you diabetes, but you know, it's only been in a few number of people, so let's not talk about it and not let people talk about it. Like, what do you mean? Like, why can't we talk about it, even if it's like 0.5% of people, you know, getting it? Why can't we talk about it?
99.5% of them are unvaccinated. 99.5% of everyone dying from COVID-19 now is unvaccinated.
Yeah, so, but it's not. Yeah, but the numbers of death have dropped significantly, so it's not really around. But okay,
I think that should, in and of itself, speak for. Well, I mean, it should speak volumes. You know,
it does. You spread that message. That's fine. They should be allowed to also spread the message that, like, you know, 0.05% of people are like
fine and didn't
suffering some sort of side effect from the vaccine. Like, why can't they say that if you can say 99.5% of people are dying? Just put out the truth, and that's it. You know. And people can make up their own minds. Like this is the thing is Lance is treating people as if people are stupid and treating the world as if they're stupid. And Joe Rogan saying, I'm stupid. You know what I'm saying? And I want to ask these questions and talk about these things. You know what I'm saying? And they're treating it as if this guy who admits he's stupid is stupid and he's talking about these things, and that's going to make everybody else who's, you know, the millions of people who listen to him must be stupid too, so they're gonna do it. And it's like, it doesn't work that way. People just want to listen to what he's saying. They're not all sitting there listening to Joe Rogan as if they're gonna take his advice, you know. And not that his advice is horse to wormer anyway, like he was saying. Like, what? How is that the advice? But all right, I'm hungry. It's getting kind of late. We went through 2 videos. That was fun.
Yeah.
And thanks for the super chats, guys. Thanks for watching, and maybe we'll do more of these soon. Have a good night, guys.